I'm trying to sing to you to make things nice. Let's see if the sound's on. Yeah, I got a good voice. Kite is here. Hey, Kite. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Good day to you, and good day to everyone here on the live stream where we do it live. Starting a little early today. Lots to tell you about my week, things that I did, which we start in the pre-show. Joan, you can't. All right, look, I want to get on my lap. This is going to be a very short lap time. I'm telling you right now, it's way too hot to have you sit here very long. Yeah, I had sausage. That's what you're smelling. All right. Anyhow, welcome to the live stream where we do it live, and it is currently 6:52. I predict before 7:05 we're talking about something that happened. So that's going to be my prediction. I wanted to get it out there beforehand, but Kite is here. Hello, early Joan. Happy times. Definitely happy times for Joan. But Joan has been a very bad dog this week, haven't you, Joan? Yes, you have. Very irritable, demanding as all hell. Today she went outside, I think 4 times, out in the backyard to do nothing and bark at nothing. Nothing. There was nothing there. No animals. Nothing. Now she likes to chase the squirrels, but there were no squirrels. So she was like stretching. Like some of the birds chirped, she barked at them. A dog like 2 blocks away barked, she barked at him. It was like she was itching for a fight. Itching for a fight with somebody, just to yell. And so that's little Joan this week. That's little Joan. Anyhow, Kite says, may as well start now. I have a weird coincidence thing to do with this news. Oh, interesting. Interesting. All right. Well, let me do a quick recap of my week as I always do, since we have a little time. Gosh, I went to Monday. I went to Baker's Place, which was a senior center. On Tuesday, I saw a band, which was nice. Hadn't seen a band in a while. Los Lonely Boys. They were pretty good. Then on Thursday, I went to the Sayreville Historical Society, and that was like an all-day thing for me because it took me about 90 minutes to drive there, 90 minutes to drive back. And then there was a meet and greet, and then a talk. It went really well. A great bunch of folks. I love the guys at Sayreville. They do the I Heart Horror thing. JC is there. Hi, 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 hi. Mike is a bit low. Okay, let's adjust that. All right. How's that? Kite, it's more of a strange coincidence rather than an actual tide ever. Tide event. Sorry. There's always a logo there. I forgot to do that thing. I forgot to figure out how to get rid of that little logo in the corner. Better? Okay, good. I'll sit closer to the mic. It's very directional, this mic. I'm thinking about getting a new mic, or maybe reading the instructions on this one. Either way. So the Sayreville guys also run a couple of shows. The Cuneo brothers, and they run the I Heart Horror show, and then I believe it's oh gosh, he's gonna kill me for forgetting his name. Mike, I think it's Mike. He runs the Cryptid and Paranormal Convention with Holly. Really great bunch of guys. They very much like me, and so that was a good show. And then the next day, I went to the Farmers and Bankers Brewery, and that place is in Woodstown, New Jersey, and that was a great place. I really liked that place, and there were people there just to see me, which was nice. I mean, that sometimes happens, but it's nice when you get there and people are like, "Oh, we're just here to see you. We don't know this place." So that was nice. And then, some of the regulars stayed. Then on Saturday, I did this event, this market, and it was in Williamstown, and it was right in the middle of Williamstown, right across from the 13th Child Brewery, which I've been to a few times. 13th Child, of course, is the Jersey Devil. It's another word for the Jersey Devil in South Jersey. Right in the middle of town, this thing was, and that went really well. So it was a good week. Good week. And then I've got these great reviews on book 15. I'll read them really quick. They're short. Gene Hartman, who's a big fan, always writes nice things. Just when I think you can't do any better with a story, you do. And I love how some of it takes place in my neck of the woods, Ocean County. The fact you included an old hotel, now nursing home, was fantastic. Another great read. It took too long to finish because of traveling. Anxiously awaiting the next one. She actually got a hold of me on Facebook and asked me when the next one's coming out. It's coming out in October. And Garcia says, as always, book 15 didn't disappoint. Love this series. I really enjoyed knowing some of the landmarks are real and not too far away from me. So that's good. Both 5 stars. So that's great on Facebook. And I was very happy with that. Very happy. So today we'll be talking, of course, about the box office. And it just so happens that I went to go see one of the movies on the box office, Am I Racist? So if you want to see my full review, there's a separate video for it, but of course we'll be talking a little bit about it today, and we'll be talking about the other movies and how they are faring. The interesting thing about Carter Chain is here, starting a little early today. Yes, I am. But don't worry, this is just pregame. You didn't miss much. We'll be talking about Am I Racist and some of the other films and where they landed on the top 10. And the interesting thing, Am I Racist is not really a documentary. It's not really a comedy, but it sort of succeeds at both. So that was good. So check out my full review. And yeah. Kite, ha ha ha. Am I racist? No, probably not, but someone will say that you are. Keck. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've gotten that. In fact, I did a trailer analysis of Am I Racist? And some of the comments are bizarre because that trailer analysis broke through the algorithm. I have I think 5,000 hits on it on YouTube. And that's a lot for me because I only have almost 3,600 subscribers now. So getting 5,000, getting over your subscriber count, that's like a big win. It's a huge win. So, and that's really added to my subscribers, and I'm going to make a little money on that video. So that's nice. But, yeah, I had an opportunity to see the movie today, and it didn't disappoint. Ardent is here. Hello, lads, lasses, lords, and ladies. All right, 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock, welcome to the live stream where we do it live. Where we do it live every Sunday. I'll just tell you right now, next Sunday, yes, we will do it live again. Although I may be a little late next week. I got a thing. Got a thing until 5, but should be here on time. We'll be talking about, well, let's get right into it. Let's get right into the box office, as we often do. All right. So, Beetlejuice looks like it won again. So it's number one, $51,000. Ardent had a technical 3 video day today. Ooh. Ardent live, then VOD, then a response to Trump thing. Ding, 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 ding. The Trump thing has been mentioned, as predicted. Should we get into Trump first? Okay. For those of you who haven't heard, there was a second Trump assassination attempt. Was very unsuccessful. This was much less successful than the last one. And what happened was a guy, this is what I know so far, based on what I've read. Jeremy at the Quartering's covering it. Sticks and Hammer made some breaking videos. A few other guys. Arden, I heard a bell. Should I salivate and ask for a prize? No, do not salivate. That would be weird. But what apparently happened is the attempted shooter somehow got on the golf course. Oh, Kite says, welcome to Piney. Thank you, Kite. Thank you. Doing it live yet again. Excellent. So what happened apparently was that the shooter somehow got onto Trump's golf course, or where he was. I don't know if he was at Mar-a-Lago. I think he was at a different place. Thank you, by the way, Kite, for your subscription. Is that what happens when it alerts me in the subscription, a little green thing? I hope that is. Either way, thank you, Kite. You're always a big supporter. So the shooter somehow got on the golf course and fired several rounds from an AK-47, and but Trump, according to the reports, West Palm Beach, says Arden. Thank you. According to the reports, he was not hit or near hit. It's a membership place, says Arden. Oh, that's a member. No, it's a membership for here. Kite, it is exactly that. Okay, thank you. So they missed him, or he missed him by a wide mile, seemingly so. At least if the reports are to be believed. He was apprehended alive, and so there are some pictures circulating, and already his Twitter feed has been reposted. And the interesting thing about his Twitter feed is that this guy appears to be some sort of nationalist for Ukraine. Not for America, but for Ukraine. And so I don't know if this is a psyop or a legit thing, or a mental illness. Ardent, as I read it, the guy never got a shot off, and the Secret Service fired on him. He fled, got picked up in a car later by the sheriffs. Oh, okay. Alive for now. Yes, he's now in the hands of the FBI, I believe. JC, I heard the Secret Service saw him and shot at him, and he dropped the gun and ran. Oh, okay, good. So he never even got a shot off. Yeah, I didn't read the whole thing. I just read headlines, as you all know. But the interesting thing about him, I mean, if you could call it interesting, is he is seemingly on his Twitter feed obsessed with the Ukraine. Like he wants the Ukraine, he wants everybody in America to lobby their congressman to send more weapons to the Ukraine. He claims to have gone to the Ukraine for 8 months and has tried to recruit Americans to go to the Ukraine and fight on behalf of the Ukrainians. Ardent, guy had a GoPro for some reason. Oh, so he's going to videotape his horrible crimes as well. Yeah, so a bunch of guys are covering it. It's all over Twitter. And, as one person pointed out, they did the chart with the arrows. Trump wins the debate, Trump assassination attempt. Trump wins the debate, Trump assassination attempt. So, yeah. So Trump's fine. But now the FBI has taken over. So we will learn nothing truthful from here on in. If we've learned anything truthful at all up until now. So I don't trust the FBI. Maybe this is all a psyop. He's now going to be interviewed because he seems very anti-Trump because he's so pro-Ukraine. Like one of his tweets was something like, it was weird. It was like, I'm for democracy. I'm for American, and I'm willing to fight and die for Ukraine, which is like so weird to me. Carter Chain, I just got an ad midstream. Are you finally getting ad money? If that's so, great. Oh, yeah, I'm getting ad money. I usually put the ads on the lowest possible setting for the live stream, though. You can't really turn them off unless you turn it off for the whole channel, I think. JC, Kamala going to drop out next week, too? Wouldn't that be something? I kind of feel like she could drop out, right? It kind of feels like if she dropped out, what difference would it make? I don't think they would put Joe in, but I think if Gavin Newsom wanted to run, I think they would put him in. He would be the next guy in line, but I think it would be political suicide to swap her out now. So I think they're going with her. Maybe they'll decide, hey, this is a joke. I mean, if they swapped her out, they'd have to get a new VP pick too, right? They couldn't go with Walz, or could they pick Walz? That seems a bad move. He's a nut. His wife's wacky too. I saw a clip of her. Weird. They are weird. Now you know why they went after J.D. Vance, calling him weird constantly. What's the saying? Accuse your enemy of that of which you are guilty. And that seems to be the case with the weird thing for J.D. Vance. So very strange. John Adams is here. Hello, John. Trump and his recent affiliation with cats seems particularly prescient. Yeah, 9 lives. Yeah. LeMay is here. Hi, LeMay. JEC, he's pro-democracy, but Zelensky suspended the elections over there. Yeah, I don't know. I can't tell if it's mental illness or a total psyop. Like maybe he's working, for the intelligence agencies. Maybe they found a guy who was mentally ill enough to basically believe anything they wanted. I mean, he doesn't look like a totally sane person in the picture I saw. LeMay, we officially know who won that debate. Yeah. JC, Walz is even worse than Kamala. Yeah, I mean, the Democrats have no one. I mean, at least Gavin Newsom knows how to lie and command a room up until a point. I mean, I think he's a total communist and a total idiot and a psychopath. Sticks and Hammer has been talking about how he thinks Kamala is a psychopath. I guess I agree with that, although I would say she's more just in over her head. I think she's actually having a mental breakdown because I don't think she wants to be president. I really don't. I think she's just going along with it because she has no choice, number one. And number two, it will be better for her. She will be able to deal with losing. Like, she'll complain that everybody's racist, and then she'll write a book, and she'll go on every talk show and all this kind of stuff. But I don't really think she wants to win. Because if she wins, everybody will hate her. I mean, kind of a lot of people hate her now, but everybody will hate her if she wins. And I don't think she could deal with that at all. I think she'd rather, subconsciously at least, lose and then be able to complain, well, they cheated or whatever she's going to say. So, yeah, Tim Walz he is weird. So the only thing I can think of is the reason they accused J.D. Vance of being weird is because they knew how weird Tim Walz was, and they wanted to make sure they could undermine that right out the gate. JC, Gavin looks good on camera, but he has the worst record. He destroyed the richest state in the country. Yeah, but they're good at covering that part up because that's the boring part. Because you have to dig down in a little bit into the weeds to really understand how badly they destroyed California. Unless you live there, of course, then you already sort of know. But like these people in California, either California is rigged top to bottom with their elections, or some of the people in California really need to get out of California, if only to see how other states work at this point. Because I don't know why they keep putting Democrats in everywhere. It's just, like, I understand it up to a point. I mean, we do it in New Jersey, but once in a while we have a really corrupt governor, and and things just flip and we get Republicans for a while. It's like, how can California keep voting Democrat at this point? Seems a little odd. But to me, Gavin strikes me as a psychopath. And I don't mean that just because he looks like Christian Bale in American Psycho. I've seen videos of him. He looks disturbed in some of them. And he banged his own campaign manager's wife. Like, that to me is like, it's beyond ballsy. I mean, it's one thing to, like, I don't know, some of these politicians, they're alpha males. They're like, I'm going to bang. Like, if he banged his competitor's campaign manager's wife, like, you'd be like, oh my God, he's way too alpha. That's messed up, dude. But, like, at least you'd be like, well, he's really trying to destroy that dude. Like, to bang your own campaign manager's wife? What the F is wrong with you? And like, how did she go for it? Like, oh, this'll be fun and no one will know. Like, doesn't make any sense to me. Literally all anyone talks about, says JEC, when they talk about Callie is how Callie has gone to hell. Donald Jr. is engaged to Gavin's ex now. Yeah, that's odd too. They're all kind of in the same tier of people, and they all seem to bang and date each other constantly. The thing that really disturbed me about Gavin Newsom is he cleaned up San Francisco just for the premiere of China, and then this weird footage of him in China playing basketball with kids over there. Like, first off, why would the governor of any state have to go to a foreign country? I just don't get that. Like, they shouldn't be, unless their state is like pristine and operating perfectly. I don't see any reason for any governor of any state in the United States to leave the country during their administration. There's just no reason. Maybe you could argue vacation. Maybe. But to go on, like, no, that's not their job. They should be representing the people of their state. I don't think they should be in foreign countries. Especially a foreign country like China, which is openly communist and openly our enemy in many ways. So, yeah. Seems like a huge drawback. But people are easily duped, I think, by the looks of Gavin Newsom and his smooth delivery. And he is good at that until he gets triggered, which a couple times that happened. In this one interview when he was mayor of San Francisco, I swear to God, if you watch the footage of the interview, if he had suddenly in the middle of that interview picked up a like heavy bust in his office and beat the reporter to death, it would have went completely along with what happened for about 2 minutes in that footage. I mean, that's how psychotic he looked to me. Ardent, looks are how Trudeau got in. Yeah. Which is weird because he looks so much like a young Fidel Castro. So much. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I think Kristi Noem's pretty hot, but I wouldn't vote for her just for her looks. You know, if I had two equal female presidential candidates that were both basically the same, the looks might tip it, but Jesus, ladies, what are you doing? I guess that's how John F. Kennedy won. JC, looks and Trudeau's name. Yeah, the name I think was big with him too. JC, it was mainly his name was the thing, says JC. Well, yeah, he's not that handsome really when you get right down to it, but he is young looking. I think that youthful vigor is a big factor. Something we've been missing in American politics for a while. That's what Gavin kind of has still, although he's getting up there. But to me, anyone that would vote for Gavin Newsom, you're out of your mind after what he did for the French Laundry during the pandemic. I mean, that is beyond. And then his apology is even worse. It's like, yeah, I made a mistake. Oh, you mean you made a mistake when you made a rule that said no one gets to go out to restaurants during the pandemic, and you just completely ignored it, went to a restaurant during the pandemic, didn't even wear a mask, went to a party full of a room full of people, completely ignoring your own laws. The laws that you enforced on other people. Oh, yeah, it's a mistake. I tripped and fell and forgot I put in all these laws in place and we're enforcing them against other people while I was tripping. And as I tripped, I fell inside the French Laundry, celebrated a birthday with my rich friends, and I tripped and fell, and the mask fell off my face, and then I forgot where I was for hours drinking and partying. Yeah, it was really a mistake there. Ardent, LOL, you only feel like that because you have, as Spoon says, the Wang wisdom. JC, he's starting to look haggard now that he's 20 points behind in the polls. Is that Trudeau? He's behind in the polls you're referring to? Or are you referring to Gavin? Oh, either one of them. That's a good thing. Yeah, I can't imagine you Canucks electing Trudeau again. Dear God. If you elect Trudeau again, I mean, I don't even know what to tell you anymore. I mean, not only should you kick him out of office, whoever gets in should immediately start investigating his entire administration. Ardent, Trudeau's been looking haggard for a while. Yeah, if anybody should be thoroughly investigated for what he did during his tenure, it's Trudeau. I mean, I know Biden's super corrupt and everything, but like, to me, taking a bribe is pretty bad and very corrupt, but it's not half as bad as some of the stuff I've heard Trudeau is accused of, like letting the Chinese government do things up in Canada. That like was nuts. Like that to me is like treason. He needs to be investigated for treason. He let some of the, I think some of the Wuhan guys come in to Canada and leave with some diseases and, God, it's been so long since I read that article. That's like it's way during pandemic stuff. I'm not talking about that pandemic, YouTube. I'm talking about some other imaginary pandemic, by the way. All right. But anyhow, Trump's fine. Everybody else sucks. Trump 2024. All right. Let's move on. Carter Chain. Never underestimate the Canadians' ability to be stupid just because they don't want to be like America. Oh, yeah, I guess that's a thing, huh? I'm surprised that's not a thing more in the UK. And that's something, watching the Lotus Eaters, I never really heard much of that. And I always thought, man, aren't they worried about being America's lapdog? Because it seems that like they are. John Adams, wasn't Canada doing military drills with the Chinese? Yeah, I remember that. Like, I'm trying to remember the exact thing, but I couldn't remember. JC, he got reelected last time because he had been sending everyone $2,000 checks to everyone, and the conservative leader was another WEF plant at the time. Kite. Sorry, I had to do something. Did I miss the Trump story? Heck, yeah. So say your piece about Trump now before I move on. But he's fine, and I guess he'll go up in the polls again for a while at least. Ardent at John Adams. No, it's worse than that. There's a treaty to allow them to train, on our soil for winter combat. Gee, who would they be fighting in the winter? And it allows them to deploy troops on our soil to defend their interests. Yeah, it makes no sense. It makes no sense that Trudeau would allow that. It literally makes no sense. Like, they are the enemy, and why would they train on your soil unless they're training like, well, we may invade you one day, so we want to get the best possible training? Or they're training to invade the United States. JC, Pierre hates the WEF, though. He's already ahead. Good. I'm glad he hates the WEF, if that's true. I mean, I forget. I guess it was Ardent. You weren't too psyched about Pierre, if I'm remembering correctly. But, I mean, from where I'm standing, he's got to be a step up. But Poliver, says Ardent, is a globalist in any event, and he has attended Davos several times. He's pro-replacement immigration and anti-body autonomy. Ooh, that doesn't sound good. Show him Materi. Welcome, show him. How about that Laura Loomer? I don't know. I never really listened to Laura Loomer, but I've heard people talking about her. Welcome to the live stream, by the way. LeMay, Chinese landowners in Canada. Yeah, that's a big problem in the United States. The idiots at the Biden admin just let them buy up land right around our military bases. Like, how can you even do that? How can you not immediately go, whoa, 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 whoa? No. Ardent, yeah, that was me. I don't trust him. And yeah, he would be a bear step up. Kite, backtrack, tangent, funny thing. There is a very, very popular VTuber referred to as Shondo by fans. She got banned by Twitch for no reason just before the first attempt on Trump. Okay? So this is Kite's story. He has some sort of tangential connection to the Trump thing. Indie Phantom is here. Howdy, y'all. Crazy news cycle and box office. Yes, we're already into the Trump stuff. Kite, 2 days ago, they banned her again for no reason, and then what happened to Trump? Interesting. A lot of people get banned by Twitch. I don't know. I never thought about doing Twitch. Hold on. Oh. I never thought about doing Twitch, but although I do want to do like live streams with video games, but I don't know. I don't know how to hook it up. I wish I could figure it out quickly. I'm sure there's a tutorial online. I'm just too lazy to figure it out. But one of these days, for a while, I was doing live streams with video games from like that were really old. So the idea was like, I'd play like Asteroids and then talk. So I gotta do that again sometime when I'm bored. Everybody's saying hi to each other. Ardent at Kite, are you saying she's behind the attacks on Trump to spite Twitch? Nah, he's just joking. Ardent, it's pretty easy, Tony. Depends on if you have a console or PC to stream from. I'm streaming from a PC. JC, he went to Davos because he was invited the first time. He got into government and he said it was stupid, and then there's videos of him talking about them ever since. Well, in favor of JEC's point, what I heard was that the WEF does invite people a lot of times, and they also put people on their website who don't necessarily like them. So one of those people, I believe Tulsi Gabbard was at Davos. Like a lot of them go because it's a chance to network, I guess, and they're invited, and they don't see any reason at first to not go. But yeah, it sort of depends on the era, I guess. Now I would see that as a huge red flag. I mean, 10, 15 years ago, like I don't even think I heard of the WEF. Indie Phantom, Twitch is for twerking. Yeah, I don't really do that. I mean, I could for the right amount of money. So I do like money, but no. Kite. Anyway, lots of her fans are of both sides of the aisle, and yet are only able to find out the news via her, despite her not being political because of this. But everyone on both sides is aligned in. Oh, interesting. Ardent acknowledges your point and says, I haven't seen those, but I still don't trust the greasy CS. John Adams, in VTubers, one called Kirsch has been covering the political debates, and it's been interesting. Ardent, yeah, Bernie's been there too, once. Kite, condemnation of these attempts even with flags and pronouns in the bio. Okay, well, good. Ardent at John Adams. Yeah, Spoon has done some streams with him. Ardent, Tony D hot tub stream coming soon. No, probably not. I never say never. Might be. I looked at a picture of myself from the Sayreville event. I'm getting fat. My girlfriend's feeding me too well. I'm getting a little fat. I gotta start walking more, doggy. Yeah, I know that's good news for you, huh? Good news. All right, let's get into the live stream. Enough of this political stuff. We have to talk about the important things. Movies. JC at Ardent. There's a couple of videos out there. People were passing them around Telegram when he was running for conservative leader. We'll see that what he does when he wins. I'm not in love with him. Kite at John Adams. Yeah, Kirsch is amazing. She's opening up people's eyes to DEI. Isn't dying while other conservatives are ignoring that it's just being reframed under a bridge. Oh, I haven't heard that reframing. John Adams at Ardent. Is this spoon the aristocratic utensil? Jeez, Joan, your breath could knock over a rhinoceros. All right, so number 1 was Beetlejuice. Second week, it's only dropped by 54%. So that's a pretty good sign. That's got a bit of legs. But the international is terrible. Indie Phantom box office is bleak for new releases again. Yeah. Well, yes and no. So yeah, this isn't great for Beetlejuice. Although, what was the budget on this? 100 million. It's already made its money back, so you'll probably get a third one, I'm guessing. But I think it's a shame. There were a lot of ways to approach it. I can wait for streaming on that one. But it's in 4,500 theaters, so people want to see it. Number 2 is Speak No Evil. Now, 11.5 million. This apparently is a remake of a foreign movie. I forget which country. $20 million. It looks okay-ish. I'd be more interested to see the original movie because I'm more of an originalist when it comes to stuff like this. But, McAvoy is a pretty good actor. But, yeah, I mean, we can get foreign movies all the time now. We got Anatomy of a Fall. We got a bunch of stuff out of Netflix. Although I still didn't see Anatomy of a Fall. Why didn't I see that? I was about to watch it and something happened. I don't remember. Ardent at John Adams. Yeah, I've known him since before the name change. I don't know. This movie, it doesn't really interest me because I don't like the movies about crazy characters. I feel like that's a crutch. It opens up the screenplay to just doing stuff just to do it. I think it should be more, I don't know. Indie Phantom. Speak No Evil looks fine. And I am seeing the original one too. Yeah, I'd be more interested in the original one because, like a Psycho, I don't know, is he Australian or American in that or whatever? I'd want to see how the Europeans go crazy. At least there would be some difference. You know what I mean? Like, it would resonate better, I think. I don't know. An English guy going crazy? Kind of just doesn't, because, I don't know, as an American, I see all the English guys as very, very witty and urbane and, like, doesn't quite resonate for me, maybe. I don't know if that's going to be the same for other audiences. I mean, it just seems like a streamer at best. Number 3, in its 8th week, Deadpool and Wolverine. That's pretty good. Ardent, LOL, they go at you with a baguette. Deadpool and Wolverine drops from 2 to 3. Still 5.2 million. It's a beast of a movie at $1.3 billion. That's a movie. That's the way you make them. expect many sequels. Disney's still making money somehow. Still in 3,000 theaters. Now, here's the next one. The movie I saw today, Am I Racist? $4.75 million. But here's the thing. It's only in 1,500 theaters. Now you double that, and you double the money, let's say, and you're really talking, what would that be? That'd be over 9 million. It'd be like 9.5. That would be the third place movie easily. In fact, I had initially heard it was the third place movie, but it must have moved down a little bit, or Deadpool moved up. Indy Phantom. 2 actors have won Oscars for playing Joker, and I question the validity of those performances because it is just an interpretation of an undefined crazy. Yeah. I mean, the Oscars are... I have no interest in the Oscars anymore. When I was a kid, first starting out and wanting to make movies, I thought, oh man, winning an Oscars would be the tits. But now I just look at it and go, God, it's so pathetic. You know, it's a lot like what I discovered in the world of comics with their award ceremony. It's just a bunch of cliques behind the scenes, voting for each other or bribing each other to get an award. It's no real metric of artistic endeavor. Indy Phantom, I am stoked for Am I Racist? He crushed the pathetic Ellen Page woke film. Oh God. I think. Ellen Page makes a brief appearance in this one. And yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoyed it. I laughed. I mean, if you're, like I said in my review, it's a little bit inside baseball because you sort of got to know Matt Walsh just to know, you know, that he's trolling everybody throughout the entire movie, and that makes it better, I think. See, if you don't know Matt Walsh and you don't watch his videos on the regular, that would be another slight criticism of the movie. I would have liked to have seen a wind-up explaining who Matt Walsh is to the normies. Like, obviously, you wouldn't need that wind-up on the Daily Wire, where everybody watches his videos. But in the movie theater, I think you needed just a little bit of that wind-up, who Matt Walsh really is. Obviously, I didn't need it. You want to get down? All right, I'm sick of you. All right, go away. Ugh, it's friggin' hot. Friggin' hot. You should be happy I let you sit on my lap that long. Ugh. But yeah. So this movie would have done better. And now there's all sorts of rumors. Indy Phantom. I think Matt Walsh is dryly funny. He is. But I think also too, like if I was his comedy writer, I would push him more. I think he could handle pushing some of his concepts a little further. And I don't mean he pulled his punch. I don't think that at all. But I think he tends to stay on message more than he does the comedy in the movie, which I totally respect. Like, if I was his comedy writer and I kept pitching crazier things, I'm sure he would go, okay, no, we're not doing that. And I would get that. But I think he could have gone another step with the comedy. But JC, another ad. So, yeah, this was another dagger into the heart of DEI and CRT. So for that, I was more than willing to pony up the dough. And, the Daily Wire is the only guys really doing comedy these days. Indy Phantom, were there a lot of people when you saw it? I would say around a dozen to 20 people, somewhere in that neighborhood. Not a lot, no. JC, ad blocker can't update itself fast enough. Sorry, dude. Yeah, no, we went to a 2:50 showing on a Sunday today, and yeah, it wasn't super packed. But I'll say that the movie theater we went to was almost a ghost town in general. I mean, what else is there to see here? I guess there were some people saying "Speak No Evil" and Beetlejuice, but it was kind of desolate, kind of desolate. Um, yeah. So and it's not my theater locally, and I actually moved to this neighborhood based on the movie theater at the time, because I'm a movie guy and I wanted to be near a good theater, and it was a great theater when we moved here. Now it sucks. It was a high end sort of art house movie theater when it opened. Well, it was the concept was art house and mainstream movies. Now, it didn't really take off for a variety of reasons. So quickly, the art house movies started to go away, and they showed less and less and less of them. Eventually, they barely showed any, and then, but the cool thing was they had a coffee bar that was separate from the snack bar, so you could get lattes and you could get fancy coffees and cakes and stuff, and it was really cool. And they had the higher end snacks because it was a local chain. It was the same art house people who ran the one in Philly. But then they couldn't sustain it. They had too many screens. The place was gigantic. And then they got bought out, I guess, or sold out to, I think they went through 2 or 3 different chains, smaller chains, and now they're owned by AMC, which is a huge chain. And like they're kind of bare bones as compared to, say, the art house movies. So that what they did was they put a bunch of whatchamacallit, like standees all around the coffee bar. They closed the coffee bar almost immediately when they took over. And then they put up all these standees, so you can't even see the coffee bar. They used to have a nice lobby with magazines. I mean, I thought it was stupid to have magazines in the lobby, but it was for people to come in and have coffee or whatever. And, of course, they got rid of all the high-end snacks, so now they're back to regular AMC snacks. And it's just like a regular theater, like in the guts of a bigger theater. It's lame. It's lame. But I go there because now it's close, and they have lots of nice restaurants near it. In the same parking lot, there's a bunch of nice restaurants, but the theater itself now is kind of low end. If I had millions of dollars, if I had won the lottery, just recently I played the lottery for the 800 million prize, that might have been one of my purchases. To buy that theater and turn it back into a giant art house theater that probably loses money every year. John Adams, YouTube ads are difficult to skirt, but if you're somewhat technically inclined, then look into Piehole for blocking ads and trackers on your whole home network. Okay. Interesting. Yeah, YouTube's in trouble with the ads, from my understanding, because the problem with the ads is, they already can't make enough revenue on the ads they have. So if they get blocked, that makes it less likely some of these advertisers are going to spend all this money. I mean, what are you going to do? You spend money on ads that nobody ever sees? I think what YouTube should probably go with like a ticker at the bottom of the screen. Like the video's still going on, but like the commercial comes across the screen every once in a while. That to me would be slightly more effective, because at least people might glance down at it and would be up there for a while. JC at John Adams, am I not technically inclined? Are you not entertained? I am not. For me, on the YouTube ads, I just endure them and click through them. I mean, some people, though, like over at my girlfriend's place, she's got YouTube on the TV. So that's a little more dicey, getting around the commercials. I don't know if there's even any way. So I just mute them and wait for them to be over and then turn it back on. JC corrects himself. I am not. Corey Sosner is here. What are we talking about here? Well, you missed all the Trump stuff. So we talked about the Trump stuff earlier. I assume you already heard. And if you didn't hear, then you are going to be in for a shock right here live. But we are talking about the box office. And am I racist? Not if I'm racist, but if the movie Am I Racist, which was pretty good. And it's in theaters, and it did pretty well for only being in 1,500 theaters. Corey Sosner, you have to pay to get rid of anything commercials. Yeah, so that I don't mind that on YouTube. I don't mind commercials. I'm a Generation X. We lived with commercials. I'll watch commercials. I'll just mute them. As long as you don't disable the mute button, I'm good. I'll just wait for them to be over and ignore them. It gives me a chance to go to the bathroom or check my phone or whatever. JC, YouTube business model is effed up. Huge money hole for Google. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen when that goes to hell. Corey, he ain't going to make. He's mental and won't hide. Corey, yes, you are racist. I am not racist. Stop it. Stop it. They don't know you're joking. Gen X baby. You're Gen X too. All right. So, yeah, I think Am I Racist is doing well. It's certainly doing better than any other Daily Wire movie, that's for sure. And quite frankly, some of I think the Daily Wire movies have been pretty high quality. Surprisingly high for guys that are relatively not novices at making movies. They're doing pretty good. Corey, ha ha ha. He ain't gonna make it. Are you talking about Trump? So, I mean, in some respects, the Daily Wire is kind of saving comedy. I would like to write for the Daily Wire now that they're doing comedy. Although, I do think eventually they're going to hit a wall with the comedy. You know, with someone like me, they'd hit it a lot quicker because I would have been suggesting crazier things for Am I Racist, crazier bits to do, and they probably would have shot half of them down. But that's fine. That's part of the process, really. Uh-oh. Am I blowing up on the phone? No. Number 5, dropping from 3, is Reagan. Kind of same crowd as Am I Racist? Indie Phantom. I like older TV ads, all the sexy ones we used to get for beer especially. Yeah, you can have a decent commercial, an entertaining one. Some of them are funny. But you know, if it's a car ad or something, I don't want to see that. If it's for something, if it isn't entertaining and it's not a product I'm interested in, I'll just mute it. What do I care? And even if it's an entertaining ad, if you've seen it, you don't want to see it again. Corey, yes, he's a maniac. He won't effing hide. They want him dead. Yes, Corey's talking about Trump. Yes, they do. They do. I think he should switch to bowling until the campaign's over. That way he'll be inside, and it'll be a little safer. They could vet the people going into the bowling alley. JEC. I don't know. He seems to be divinely protected. After that first attempt, we're turning his head the exact right moment and saved him. Yeah. See, I see it as Donald Trump has like a luck like Hemingway of the Pineys. See, Hemingway is just super lucky, and people are annoyed by how lucky he is because it just happens to him all the time. Corey, his luck will run out. That's a very black-pilled thing to say, Corey. Indy, Super Bowl used to have great ads, then hit with wokery. Yes. JEC, hasn't yet. Corey, football is fixed. Jeez, Corey. All right. You forced me to say this. Hockey's fixed. There you go. Now. Yeah. Now what do you think? So Reagan is doing pretty good. It's got good buzz. $2.9 million. Still in 2,700 theaters. More than Am I Racist? In its third week. This thing make money yet? I think it probably did. 25 million. No, it's not break even yet. So 25 million. It's at 23 million. John Adams. Truman put a bowling alley in the White House. Yes, he did. Maybe the current administration will invite him to use it. I don't know. Did you see the Biden put a Trump hat on the other day? That was pretty funny. That was the best evidence I've ever seen that he hates Kamala Harris, which I think he does. I think he at least hates her people. Corey, I can't believe I would go back to the 70s and 80s. What we're going through is pure insanity. Yeah. Ardent, NASCAR is fixed. You shut your mouth. Corey, F off black pill BS. I'm practical. That's what everybody who's black pilled says. Indy Phantom, at least the media is forced to talk about the Trump Butler incident. At least conservative movies in the top 10. Yeah, you got to look on the bright side. Corey, too hard to fix hockey, and it's lower tier sport. No one cares about hockey but us in Canada. I don't know. I'm sure somebody would make some money on it so they could buy more maple syrup and poutine. Ardent, the Euros like their hockey too. Corey, NASCAR, ha 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 ha. Is that a thing? Come drive the NJTP if you want some NASCAR. Yeah, I was on the turnpike. Well, no, I'll tell you the place to drive. In the AM, he said. I'll tell you the place to drive. I was on Route 55 the other day. And for those of you who don't know, Route 55 in South Jersey is cursed. And I'll tell you the story briefly. So in the mid-1980s, they built the extension off of Route 42 to the Deptford Mall through an Indian burial ground. One of the road crew died, and now the road's cursed, and there's been all sorts of accidents there. And I was on it the other night coming home. I usually avoid it, but I had to use it. And there was a guy in a pickup truck, and he was driving. He had to be going like 100, and he was swerving in and out of traffic. Way too big a vehicle to be doing that kind of speed in. By some miracle, he didn't swerve off the road. It was scary. JEC, October surprise is going to be Biden straight up endorsing Trump. That would be hilarious. Corey, Tony's got commercials. Ha 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 ha. Yes, I'll be right back with this message from Yoo-Hoo, the chocolate drink that doesn't actually have milk in it. John Adams, that's a Jersey thing, by the way, South Jersey thing. Yoo-Hoo, it's delicious. John Adams at Indy Phantom. The moderators cut him off real quick when he brought that up in the debate. Yeah, he brought up his own assassination attempt, and the moderators were like, we're moving on. Yeah, we're moving on, Mr. President, that you've been shot in the head. Ardent, there's a hockey team. There's hockey teams in friggin' Vegas and Phoenix. I mean, where's the money? I don't know. I don't follow hockey. Although I do give respect to hockey. It looks very dangerous. Somebody could step on your fingers with those ice skates, and goodbye fingers. Corey, no more Phoenix, moved to Utah compared to the major sports. See, I shouldn't have mentioned hockey. It's nowhere as popular, excluding Europe. Sorry, dude, you got some great hockey out there. Yeah, he's a hockey fanatic, so I probably shouldn't have opened this Pandora's box. All right, moving on. Number 6, The Killer's Game. The Killer's Game? How did I miss this one? $2.6 million. The Killer's Game. Who the hell's in this? I have no idea. The Killer's Game. Did I do a thing on this? Killer's Game. Dave Bautista? Oh, maybe I did look at this one. Hitman is diagnosed with a terminal illness. He decides to take out a hit on himself, but when the very hitman he hired also target his ex-girlfriend, he must fend off an army of assassins' colleagues. Oh. I don't know if I saw this one or not. Weird. I thought maybe he got... I thought there was one where they... it was like this, except he gets the news that he's not going to die, and then he has to turn off the contract, but he can't. I don't know. It looks stupid. I kind of don't buy Dave Bautista anymore. I really kind of don't like him anymore. Yeah, 2.6 million, and I'm sick of these Hitman movies. God, give it a rest. I mean, I like to see dudes get shot in the face. I like those kinds of movies, but it's just like, oh, he's a hitman. There's not that many hitmen. I keep telling you, organized crime doesn't have that many hitmen. There are a few. Very big organizations, you might have a guy who's a designated enforcer, and he does a lot of hits. That's extremely rare. It has to be a huge organization for that to develop. It's not like, you know, you got this hitman lying around in the movies. They're just everywhere. I'm really sick of that trope. Ardent, it's figure skating with roid rage. Dun, 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 dun. John Adams, I saw a pickup truck going the wrong way down C470 freeway in Colorado one late night back when I was in college. Yeah, but the thing about Route 55 is it's cursed, and just recently there was a major accident on it, and you know what? The guy was going the wrong way down 55, and he was killed. They say he was committing suicide on that cursed portion of road, and I was at a different event when that happened, and somebody told me, and I was like, oh my God. And I was telling the story about Cursed 55, and they're like, yeah, a guy just died. It's kind of weird. Ardent, Newfoundland is more football country, Euro soccer. Indie Phantom, as a Canadian, we get triggered when you say ice skates. Skates will do fine. Well, there's roller skates, right? Are there any other kinds of skates? No, it's just roller skates and ice skates. JC, is everyone in Tony's chat Canadian? Seems that way. Indie Phantom. Bautista is a woke fool. Yeah, and he suddenly got super skinny. He got off, people are saying he's off the gear, and his whole body deflated. Now he looks kind of like an old man. Corey, happened to my son in the locker room at camp. He got stepped on and had him, had him stitched up. With the skates cutting his hand. And went back the next day with stitched finger. It was a power skating camp, and he didn't need to hold the stick. So what do you do? Like, throw the puck at people? Corey, he doesn't know if he's from South. He doesn't know he's from South Jersey. The only skates he ever saw were in the movie Rocky. No, we have skates. We have skates. We've been ice skating in South Jersey. You know, when the water used to freeze here. Now it doesn't freeze here anymore. Thank you, global warming, by the way. Corey, laughing. Canada flags. Carter Chain, I'm from Michigan, so kinda. Ardent, I'm not Canadian. I'm from Newfoundland. Corey, what the F is with all these ads? I put it on the lowest amount possible. John Adams, there's also skates, the animal. They're like a smaller version of stingrays. Huh. Do you tie them to your feet and go across the ocean? Ardent, at Corey, YouTube trying to force you to go for premium. JC, he's 56. His heart is due to burst if he didn't get off the juice. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, that big guy died. That other bodybuilder just died. He's like the most, they called him the mutant. I think he was only 36, though. Corey, Michigan is like the province. Great hockey there. Yeah, but they got to deal with Gretchen Whitmer, the Wicked Witch of Michigan. Corey, I know. I see them in the ocean every summer. F YouTube. Indie Phantom, I watched the doc on The Sopranos. Not great. David Chase and Gandolfini are rather morose dudes. Desperate HBO chasing their glory days. Yeah, I have zero interest in that because The Sopranos were, to me, was kind of like Game of Thrones. It was good up until a point, and then it died. The moment they got rid of the moment the actress who was playing the mother died, and they decided to get rid of her character, I thought the bottom dropped out of the show. And it took about a season, but by the end of that season, I was just done with it. I lost all interest in watching it. I thought that was the the dynamic, the character dynamic that needed to be explored. The stuff with his psychiatrist, like with his mother dead, he should have stopped seeing the psychiatrist basically, but it like turned into like The Godfather, and it got way too important, and they ruined that show before it was done, in my opinion. Corey, big juice head, talking about Dave Bautista. JC, had two comic pros die this week in their early 50s. Get your boosters, everyone, he said sarcastically, I assume. Yeah, I am unvaccinated. I am pure blood, as they say. I'm waiting for that moment. There is a plasma place not far from my house that I assume takes people's blood, distributes to them. I'm waiting for the moment where I get wind that they are now paying premium for anybody with unvaccinated blood. I'm waiting for that moment. And then I'm going to go in there and give a pint of my blood for like $300 or some huge amount of money. John Adams. YouTube Premium is really worth it, though, especially this year. No election ads. Something to consider. Corey, more boosters to thin out the ranks, apparently. I try to tell people. So far, most of the people I know who took it initially are like, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Like, they don't want to acknowledge that it's bad, but at the same time, they're like, yeah, I think I'm done. But we'll see. Ardent, I am and shall remain pure blood. Corey, horrible show, Sopranos. Watched 5 minutes and that was enough. The first couple of seasons are all right. Especially the first season I like. Indie Phantom, the mother died in the first season. I couldn't stand her or the psychiatry. I like the show, but it overstays its welcome, which Breaking Bad also did. I agree with you that Sopranos totally overstayed its welcome. Like, it also got too big. And what I mean by that, the plots got too big. Like, the great thing about it was, initially, the show was marketed as a comedy. When HBO did it, they used clips from the show where he takes Meadow. The best episode was he takes Meadow for college interviews, and while he's up in the middle of nowhere, upstate New York, he spots a guy in the witness protection program. So while Meadow is in the middle of an interview, he sneaks out, gets in his car, drives to the guy's place, and strangles him to death. And then comes back, and now he has a built-in alibi for where he was. And the interesting thing about it was very low budget. There's a scene where he calls back to Jersey, and Christopher answers on a payphone in the middle of nowhere. This is the 90s, late 90s, I guess. And it was a really good episode. But then the show got gigantic. Like, it just spent too much money, and they were doing bigger and bigger things, and the stories became too big. Like, it should have stayed in that realm where weird things were happening, but they were small, pretty small things, I would say. Breaking Bad, kind of disagree with you. It starts very slow. The peak of it was probably like one episode before the last one. I think it only overstayed its welcome maybe by one episode, but they did stretch it out a bit, but I thought they did a good job. I think the extra shows kind of were too much, but I think they were well made. To me, they were interesting to watch. The characters are good. Corey, who cares about that show? Lots of people. JC, the reason they're bringing all these illegals in, switching topics, is that the Dems realized that they F themselves because it's mostly lefties getting jabbed, cutting the legs out from their own voter base. Yeah, they have not. Those people are all unjabbed. Every single one of them are completely unjabbed, which was bizarre when it started to happen, because I was like, how can you not force these people all to take the jab if you think it's so damn important? Corey, I'd rather watch Rings of Power. Oh my God! Don't say something you can't take back, Corey. John Adams. Speaking of overstaying a welcome, Hulu bought back Futurama from the dead for another season. It's actually been decent so far, but it didn't need to come back. Yeah, I kind of saw that and sort of half interested, but not really. I mean, they kind of end the show. Corey, love Breaking Bad. Indy. Yeah, the doc makes a big deal about the college episode because HBO was worried so many guest stars kind of spoiled later. Yeah, too many. And when Junior sang, that was the episode that killed it for me. When Junior had to get a song in, I was like, what the F? Corey, Better Call Saul was effing crap. JC, Breaking Bad ended before it went to hell. Ardent, I'm not so sure about Tulsa King Season 2. Gonna check it out tomorrow and do a review vid, I think, for the season premiere. Corey, love Sly, but that show was meh. Indie Phantom, Jesse Pinkman was funny, but he literally became a B. I didn't like Walter White's fam when they kind of abandoned the chemistry and his cancer. Indy, Junior sucked. Yeah, he did. He was actually based, I believe, on Ralph Natale, who was a mob boss in Philadelphia. He was the only mob boss in history, I think, to turn state's evidence. And he famously was dressed down by his girlfriend, because remember, Junior had a girlfriend who dressed him down in front of his men. And that was based on Ralph Natale, I believe. And he looked like Ralph Natale, too. If you go back and look up a picture of him. He's in Witness Protection Program. And there were rumors that Tony was based on Tony the Boot, who was a North Jersey gangster, but he also may have been based at least partially on Joey Merlino, because Joey Merlino, Skinny Joey, in the Philadelphia mob, which Ralph Natale was the boss of, he was a capo who was very powerful and may have been secretly running things when Ralph was the boss. And it was a very similar thing. You remember in the show, for those of you who don't remember, Tony was the was really the guy in power, but he let Junior be the boss, but he was the power behind the throne. It was very similar with Joey and Ralph Natale, according to some reports anyway. All right, getting back to movies. All right, let's get back into movies. Alien Romulus dropped to 7. 4 to 7. Indie Phantom, the last double season of BB dragged on. The doc on The Soprano does reveal that they split seasons so actors couldn't negotiate contracts for new seasons. Ah, that sucks. Corey, I love the 1888 or 1923, the prequels to Yellowstone. I've heard they're good. I haven't been motivated to watch them. Alien Romulus, I didn't think looked great to me. I wouldn't go see it. 2.4 million. Seems to have done okay. I think this is money. Yeah, 80 million, made 330. So that keeps making money. I guess you can't argue with that to a degree, but it just looks like more rehash. Corey, Romulus was all right. The first one I loved. Yeah, the first one's amazing. Can't beat the first one. Second one's good. I like the second one. Third one just sucks. They were making an argument for that in Variety the other day, I think. It was weird. It was like, well, David Fincher, it wasn't his fault. Like, well, he directed the movie, and there was a lot of blame to go around because apparently the studio cut the budget at the last minute because they really effed that up. But I remember them blaming Sigourney Weaver for the whole mess because she had asked for more money, which she totally deserved. I mean, she was the movie. That was her franchise. Indie Phantom, Romulus was a dub. Crappy redux of Alien. JC, another ad. 2 ads, goddammit. I don't know. I don't know what to do with the ads. I really don't. Sorry about that. I put it on the most conservative ad read ever. I guess YouTube's trying to get some more money out of me. Corey Sosner, do you make money with all these commercials? And when I went back and watched the Prometheus films, holy F, they suck. Oh, I hated that. I watched that first one. a filmmaker I know loved that thing. And I'm like, you're out of your mind, man. Yeah, you should give. I told him you should give up filmmaking for saying that. You should just give it up because that movie sucked donkey balls. That movie's horrible. It's so bad. It's so bad. Do I make money on these commercials? I make some. I make a few cents, I guess. I don't have enough viewers to make like real money. I make like so far I've gotten like about $100 every 3 months or so. So I don't know. I'm at the point now where I'm just about to hit 3,600 subscribers. Indie Phantom, Prometheus was torture. It absolutely was. Corey, 100%. Me too. The second one is worse. I couldn't even imagine wanting to see a second of the second one. That first one is so GD awful. Everything about it I hate, except maybe Nomi Rapace, who's a pretty good actress, but you know, she's just the actress. I mean, she was just in it. It's not her fault. It sucks. She's actually good in it, I would say, but it's not saying much. But yeah, the entire aliens thing needs to go away at this point. Ardent, wow, good on you. Over 3,600. Yeah. Yeah. So to really make money, they say you need about 10,000, and then you'll be getting money every month, and then like they say, if you have 10,000 fans, 1,000 of those fans will buy your stuff, and then you can make a living. So, I mean, my hope, of course, is to sell the books. So if I got 10,000 subscribers, then hopefully I would sell, say, 1,000 books every time I launched a book, and that would be pretty good money. And then plus with all the other shows I do, I'd probably be paying my bills without sweating it too much. But then something else would happen, like World War III, and you know, because that's my luck. Or it's the simulation. If you've not heard that theory, Corey, can't watch anything. All garbage. Thank God, hockey is starting up again. I watch more of this YT crap. Oh, thanks for calling my show crap. But I don't know. I can give you some good YouTube channels that I like to watch. I like to watch the Try channel because the Irish comedians try different foods. I like that channel. I like Townsend's. Townsend's is the guy who makes food in colonial times. That's pretty good. I watch Jeremy at the Quartering. I watch Sticks and Hammer. I watch Razor Fist, of course, when he puts out a video. I don't watch a lot of his streams, although I'll just turn it on. But they're so long. It's like, I don't have time to watch his streams. They're just too long. LeMay, Dan is a relatively new manga series. I'm surprised it's already in theaters. They are cranking out all those manga things. They're turning them right into movies. But well, I mean, look, One Piece is doing very well, and a lot of the even the hardcore manga stuff is getting in the theaters here and making some money. A Boy and His Heron did pretty well. I think that's coming to streaming soon. So, you know, it's not no money. It's a shame Cowboy Bebop, you know, missed out on that. Ardent, ahem. All right, getting back to things. Number 8, drop it for 5. It ends with us. The Blake Lively movie that had a bunch of drama around it for seemingly no reason, but it's done very well for what it was. Yeah, so you definitely expect a sequel to that. The Forge, again, done very well. This is a semi-religious movie, dropping 6 to 9. It did 24 million. Or what's the budget on this thing? Oh, we don't know. I don't think this had a big budget. It looks like it was a low budget thing. Number 10, God's Not Dead, In God We Trust. This is a Fathom Events thing. $1.8 million. I would guess this didn't cost much at all. But Yeah, I don't know who made this. It's a religious movie. In a time of profound political, civil, and spiritual turmoil, Reverend David Hill grapples with the crucial question: does God still have a place in politics? No, it never did. Compelled to enter a congressional race after the sudden death of a favored incumbent, David faces off against State Senator Peter Kane, a formidable opponent. Oh, and he's played by what's his face, the guy from Fire Walk with Me. That guy. A formidable opponent determined to push religion out of the public square and cause greater divide with spiritual and moral leadership. He navigates the treacherous waters of modern politics. Blah blah blah. All right. That's too long of a synopsis. I don't want to read the rest of it. So yeah, you got your religious movies there. The religious movies are doing well. You can make a religious movie, I think. If you could do a movie like that for about $500,000, it'd be no name actors, low budget. I think you could do well at Fathom Events. So, JC. Oh, I see the guy who tried to shoot Trump. They're not sending their best. Yeah, he looks like he's like a meth guy. Corey. You're a funny F. I watch comic nerds and idiots wasting money on stupid S like statues and comic books. Can't listen to all these political guys. Won't sleep at night. Yeah. I watch the nerds too. I like Nerdrotic. He's pretty good. John Adams at LeMay. The manga, any good? Indie Phantom. Styx had a crazy live stream during the debate. Quite controversial. New girlfriend joined him. He took it down. Oh, I was wondering where. I was going to go back and watch it, and I was looking for it, and then I couldn't find it, and I thought, I must not be searching right, or maybe it was on somebody else's channel. Yeah, I heard it. It sounded like he got drunk and maybe embarrassed himself. I don't know, but yeah, he shouldn't do that, by the way. I mean, because he couldn't have been dating that girl very long, right? Like, if he had been dating that girl for like 3 years, maybe you could bring your girlfriend on the stream, I guess. You know, assuming you kind of know your deals. But I don't know. Ardent, maybe you should crank the ads all the way up. The other way might be counterintuitive. I doubt it. Indie Phantom, Ray Wise. Yes, that's the guy I'm talking about. Thank you. Ardent, from Dune, Kyle McLaughlin? No, I think it's Ray Wise. JC at Indy. Yeah, apparently Styx paid to have her get an abortion years ago. How the hell do you know this? Then she went off and had 2 kids with another guy. Now they're back together and Styx is done with his wife. Big white trash energy. Well, I mean, I don't know his deal. I kind of sensed he left his wife. For a while I thought, well, maybe he's just being super secretive and he's going to move her to the States with his kid, and he doesn't want anybody to know when it's happening, and they're tying up their loose ends, and they're selling the house, and they're trying to keep that on the down low until she gets there. But yeah, it appears that they're no longer together. It's sad. Sad they have a kid, and his kid's in Amsterdam. LeMay, John Adams. I didn't like the first chapter because it was shocking pickle and R jokes, but I heard the author tone it down to silly X-Files series. People seem to like it. Ardent, that's the Dan thing, I think. Ardent, I try to do my political stuff only on Sundays. Indy, that is whack, JEC. Corey, too much info on Styx, like I give a flying F about that long-haired freak. Don't get me wrong, he's got his moments, but F, who cares? JC, he tried to hug the girl and she looked disgusted at his touch. Oofa. That's not a good look. The one thing, I'm not great in the relationship department. I mean, I don't have a great track record, but I at least learned my lesson a long time ago. Not involve your significant other in your projects unless you really compartmentalize them. Like with my ex, we did a web comic together, which I took down because I'm not going to keep that up. But yeah, I kept it like it was his own thing, and then I was able to delete it. So, oh man, Indie Phantom, he did a lot of groping. Grope 2, not a great look in the wake of Rakita Law. Yeah, it's just dumb. It's just dumb to have a girl, even if he knew her. I mean, he knew her, but he hadn't been with her. Like, I don't know. He must have had a little of this, I would say. Corey, that's just my opinion. Corey, just listen to Tony. He's a good man. Oh, thank you, Corey. Buy his books. They're extremely entertaining, and he wrote them all by himself. LOL. Thank you for the plug, my friend. And you could vote up the stream. You could all do that. Indie Phantom, he has a kid, so it went downhill. She was a YouTuber as well. Yeah, it's a shame. His wife, I mean. Yeah. JC, at first I thought maybe it was an immigration thing, but looks like it's over, and he's back with one of his exes. She's kind of cute for a girl with kids. Yeah, but never go back to your exes. I mean, yeah, that's he maybe he's in a weird spot because he's divorced, and it sucks to be divorced. Maybe still not quite got his head together, but if I can give you any advice, never go back to an ex ever. Ardent, LOL at Corey. I'm kind of the opposite of Sticks, loud, bald, and fat, and always fully clothed. Corey, smart man. T. Ardent, do a show. I'll watch. He does a show. He's got a show. Didn't you do woodworking in one show, Ardent? Ardent, yeah, I was a year with my last wench before I even considered bringing her onto a stream with me. Corey, F off with these ads, you bastard. Sorry about the ads. All right. So next up, dropping to 11 from 7 is Twisters. This made its money, but it's going out of theaters finally. Corey, revenge is sick fun, but you can't go back. Need to hit it and run. Oh, revenge sex. Revenge sex is fun, but you can't go back. Need to hit it and run. Yeah, I just wouldn't even go back. I mean, I always had the attitude, when it's over, it's over. I don't want to be with anybody who doesn't want to be with me. So my attitude was like, oh, you don't want to be with me? All right, goodbye. And that's it. And that's it. I'd be done forever. But, yeah, unless they, like, call you back in an hour and apologize, maybe. But, when you've been, like, completely apart from somebody and it's been, I mean, he was married to somebody else. Like, it was over between them. Like, yeah, it doesn't seem like a good idea to go back. Kite, sadly, joining doesn't stop the ads either. This is fully YouTube greed. Oh, you're getting ads? Now that pisses me off. Because I turn off the ads for the members only videos, by the way. That is an outrage, Kite. I apologize for that, but there's nothing I can do about it. Ardent, I have a bunch of backlog woodwork videos on YT. Lots of nerd stuff on YouTube and Rumble. Ardent, revenge sex is asking for trouble. It really is. Corey, she was a loser. I'm not sure which person you're referring to. I assume you mean somebody with sticks. Or you're talking about my ex. Well, I don't like to criticize my ex. That's another thing I don't want to do. I'm not going to talk about my ex much. I mean, I just mentioned her, but like it's just sort of in passing because she's not a public person, so I wouldn't want her to suddenly start a stream and go off on me. Kite, I'm okay with it. You're a trooper, Kite. You're a trooper. Number 12, Despicable Me 4. This is still in theaters, 11 weeks. $1.1 million. That's crazy. This thing's still making money. That's nuts. All right, number 13, Dan, First Encounter. There it is. $1 million. Ardent, I won't talk S about my exes. Yeah, it's not worth it. Like, if they're talking about you, that changes the math, but you don't want to start a thing. Oh, okay, here it is. I kind of like the poster's kind of cool. I don't know what it's about. Guess UFOs. Ardent, not gentlemanly. Yeah, doesn't get you anything. Trap. This movie kind of came and went. It's in its 7th week. Mixed reviews on that one. $800,000. I think did it make its money? 80 million? No, that doesn't sound like money. Nah, that doesn't sound like money. My Front Room, or The Front Room, this is second week, dropped 73%. Ouch. Ouch, Monique. That is not good when you only have a domestic box office of 2.6. Why wouldn't you give this international distribution A24? I don't know. Ardent, changing devices to go smoke. All right. Stop smoking. It's not good for you. Corey, my podcast, or YT, would be so raunchy I'd be canceled in a second. Well, you could do one on Rumble. JC, I think Trap was like 30 million budget, my brother said. All right, what did that make? 42 million? It might be money. Might have broke even. This Front Room does not look like money at 2.6 million. Ardent is back already. Inside Out 2, another beast of a movie, still in theaters in its 14th week. That's a long run for a movie these days. Remember, those of you who remember, Star Wars was in the theaters over a year. Over a year. Ardent, they're my lungs. I'll abuse them as I like. All right. I'm just concerned for you. Corey, I'm out of here. Speak soon. Have fun. Thank you. Thank you, sir. See you in the next one. Yeah. So it's crazy. 14 weeks. Back in the day, Star Wars, over a year. The big movies would last months and months and months in the theater. Months and months. Because there was no other. And then they'd go to the second run movies, and you could see them there. Ardent says later, Corey. But that's crazy. 14 weeks. All right. The Critic. What was this movie? Oh, yeah. This is Ian McKellen. I saw the trailer for this. It looked okay. I mean, with a cast like this, it can't help but be watchable, I would think. But that doesn't look like a good start. $200K? In 556 theaters? That seems a little low. Ardent, I remember Popeye being here in my hometown a long time. Yeah, and it was also some regional differences, I gotta think. In the 70s, and I remember this as a kid looking in the newspapers, you know, we had X-rated theaters were kind of going mainstream. So there were certain ads for porn movies you would see. And like, this is at a time when, you know, no internet. But I knew the name of Seika, who was a porn star at that time. But I'd never seen her movie. But like, her ads were everywhere. You would like look at the ads of the movie and you'd see all the way in the right hand corner it'd be like Seika showing at this dirty movie theater. And they were trying to kind of mainstream porn movies back then. And they almost were, because they almost had plots. They were slowly rolling into like porn movies with plots in the 70s, and then videotape came in and it just died. Ardent, Caligula, LOL. Yeah, but that was weird because that was considered an art house movie. It wasn't really considered a porn, even though it kind of was. It was just an elaborate porn when you get right down to it. But Helen Mirren looked great. She looked really hot back in those days. Yeah, so The Critic only made $200,000. That is not good. Whew. Indie Phantom. Yeah, my local cinema in the 70s was one screen, huge with a balcony. They occasionally showed porn. Ew, in the same place? That would have been gross. Carter, I'm sorry, porn theater? They were a thing? Gross and weird. They were gross and weird. So in my area, what they would have is they'd have the regular theaters, and then certain theaters, like if you had a movie theater that was small and was kind of run down, that might turn into the porn theater because it was instant cash. Now, once it was porn, it was like verboten for normal people, but to the porn crowd, they didn't care, and it was steady money. But the problem, of course, with, and this is a little disgusting, and I don't know this, I've never been in one, so I don't know. But what I heard was the problem with those theaters were guys wanking it while they watched the movie. Thus the trope about guys in trench coats, because they would wear the trench coat so they could whack it underneath the coat. But gross. So gross. Yeah. So once you had one of those chains, then you ran the risk of that, I assume. So, because I had heard, again, I never went, no, I swear I never went into one of these. But they had like little porn place, like you could go into the porn store and see pornos. Like for a quarter, you could see a part of a porno, and you had to keep putting money in. Again, this is just my understanding. I never actually been in it, but then the problem there too was guys basically went in there to beat off. So yeah, but it was money. But like they were trying to mainstream like porn movies in that they were slowly they did it in, remember Boogie Nights? That was portrayed in Boogie Nights. Like it was right before the videotape era, and because of that, the porn movies were getting more elaborate, and they were right at this precipice where they might go mainstream. Because there was one movie, I forget what it was called. I want to say, God, it was like The Green Room or something with the word green in it, or Deep Throat. Maybe it was Deep Throat. Kind of went mainstream because everybody was talking about it. I don't remember it being advertised at that time, but like after that, I think that's when they were kind of thought, well, maybe this will go mainstream and regular Mr. and Mrs. America will go to the porn movie too. But it didn't. The moment they got videotape, the whole thing collapsed because there was no reason, obviously, to risk yourself going to a porn movie, whacking it in the theaters. That's what they got Pee Wee Herman on. Because it's illegal to whack it in public. Yeah, it's pretty illegal. So once they had videotape, well, you could go whack it in the privacy of your own home, can't you? So, Indie Phantom, Caligula is coming back in a non-porn version. I wonder if that'll be watchable. Ardent, I could make a porno with a plot if I could get the right IP rights and the right cast. Yeah. That was the plot of a Barney Miller episode, by the way. The Ron Harris character had to make a porno because it was part of a police thing. But instead, he makes this like gigantic romantic movie where there's almost no sex in it. It was a very funny bit. And he shows it to the other guys, and they're just all like, You wasted all the money. Ardent wouldn't go hardcore though. At Carter Chain, you never heard about Paul Rubens, Pee Wee Herman? Oh yeah, he got arrested for shooting a guy in the back of the head in a porno theater. LOL. Yeah, no, he's not talking about a gun. Indie Phantom, I remember seeing the Shaggy Dog in a multiplex, and while Deep Throat was in the next screen. Oh, weird. That's weird because sometimes the sound bleeds through. Ardent. Good gods, Deep Throat, LOL. Carter at Ardent. I was born in 2003. I thought all the pre-internet porn was on VHS. Nope. Hold on, I got a thing. Okay. Yeah, and by the way, guys, this was the one live stream my girlfriend was thinking of dropping in on, so we might want to wrap this one up soon. I don't think she's in it yet, but she hasn't commented if she is. Ardent at Carter Chain. Oh, wow, you're just a pup. Yeah, the old days were sticky. John, I'm going to butcher your last name. Casaleggio. Behind the green door. Yes, that was it. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome to the live stream, John. Indie Phantom. Yeah, there were legit porn theater in Canada, smaller ones in Montreal. The real grindhouse cinemas mixed it up. They were playing S all day. I saw The Gauntlet at one with my dad. The next flick was Insatiable with Marilyn Chambers. Oh my God. Ardent, Barney Miller was a good show. Indie, my dad realized there was a dude getting ready to beat it, so he pulled me out. Ardent, LOL, sorry, Tony's girlfriend. I don't think she's in chat yet. She just texted me. Indie Phantom, that dude from WKRP and Best in Show also got caught doing the business in theater. Oh, he did? Huh. Did not know that. Yeah, so one more story regarding this, and then I got to move on. But there was a drive-in theater in the 70s that famously showed porn movies. And the thing that's notable about it was you could see the screen from the road if you drove past. This was in PA. If you drove past the theater, you could see the screen, and you could see the porn. It was crazy. 70s was a weird time. And Fred Willard, Indie Phantom. Yes, Fred Willard. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. And that happened way after that happened during the internet era, right? Yeah, like he got arrested and everyone was just like, why the hell did you do that in public? Yeah, that's crazy. Ardent, LOL, a drive-in. Dear gods, the kid's eyes. Exactly. And my family drove past that very theater, and I caught a glimpse of something. To this day, I'm not sure exactly what I saw, but it was all flesh-colored, and I was like, what the hell's on that movie screen? And then we drove past it, and my parents were like, what? What are you talking about? I'm like, we just drove past a drive-in theater. I think I saw naked people. And they're like, oh, that's impossible. You and your crazy stories, Tony. Now, the next movie on the numbers list after The Critic is My Old Ass, which stars Aubrey Plaza. Now, this one's only in 7 theaters, but it made $171,000. Compare that to The Critic, which was in over 500 theaters and only made $200,000. That is a big difference. That means in that 7 theaters, people kind of went to go see this movie. And The Critic, they did not go see it. So that is not good. Not good at all. DD, another anime thing, made $101,000. It's in its 8th week. 1992 from Lionsgate, dropping like a stone, $76,000. Already going out of theaters at 159 theaters, 3 weeks. Did like 2.8 million. Are they going to give this international distribution? Nope. 2.6 million. I bet it costs way more than that. Indie Phantom, yeah, and drive-ins in Canada used to run year-round and had heaters, lots of softcore. Oh, wow. Ardent, my favorite line about porn, Robin Williams, an industrial film covered in fur. Moving on. Indie Phantom, My Old Ass is not a good title. It only is in the sense that it's an Aubrey Plaza movie, and that's a very Aubrey Plaza phrase. My old ass. But yeah. And it's about young Aubrey Plaza meeting older Aubrey Plaza and having a discussion. So I actually did a short film like that where a guy calls himself in the future to basically argue with himself. His younger self argues that he's a sellout, and the older version has to defend himself. So it's more for a girl perspective, I think, and it's more like about relationships. Oh, he should have never dated that guy. Faith of Angels has premiered to 30 theaters and $65,000. Ouch. That doesn't sound like a great start to me. Looks like some kind of mining movie. I don't know what that's about. Faith of Angels. A lot of religious movies this week. Indie Phantom, Aubrey Plaza had a decent ass once. I think it's pretty decent still. But I'm 58 years old, so I see things through a different perspective. All right, Faith of Angels. A stranger receives a mysterious callings, compelling him to search for a boy who's lost in an abandoned mine. All right, maybe. I don't know. I don't know. Venezuelan miners. That looks like what's his face from Drew Carey's show. No, it's not him. It's somebody else. Yeah, I don't know any of these guys. No idea. No idea. They make so many movies. Ardent. Oh. Next up, Strange Darlings. This I hear great buzz about. Did anybody see this thing? Strange Darling. Supposed to be good. Looks interesting, I'll say. But it's in its fourth week. Kind of dying on the vine. $3 million. But it was a small movie. 3.1 million. Might have cost less than that. I don't know. It is a small movie, so might do well on the streaming. Sing Sing. I don't know how this movie's still in theaters. 10th week? Seems longer than that. Long Legs. Go to F away. 35 screens. Not a good film in my view. Terrible, in fact. And it's Nick Cage. $101 million. Really? Yeah, this movie made money, unfortunately. God forbid they do a sequel to that. Waiting for streaming on Strange Darling. Yeah, me too. I'll totally see that. Tokyo Cowboy. Yeah, it looked okay. It's a fish out of water thing in its third week. $12,000. Jeez, it didn't even crack $100,000. That's not good. Seeking Mavis Beacon in its third week. $12,000. Didn't even crack $50,000. Ardent. Tony did not like Long Legs. That is correct. Indie Phantom. Sing Sing looks god-awful. Yeah, it looked like nothing to me. And Music for Mushrooms. Ardent. Nick Cage is still a big draw. Yeah, apparently. Music for Mushrooms. What the hell is this? It made $8,500 in one theater. All right, we'll see what Music for Mushrooms is. Place your bets. Is it really Music for Mushrooms? Is it really? An associate of Ram Dass, East Forest explores how music and psychedelics can facilitate transformative healing through the blending of shamanistic practices with guided psychedelic experiences. Sounds like Koyaanisqatsi to me. Ardent. Sounds like hippie tish trash. And that's it. 92 million. Didn't even crack 100 million. Ardent, I was right. You absolutely were. That is very hippie trash. Sounds to me. Indie. Kevin Smith has some ultra limited flick out, I think. Looks like Clerks for Gen Z. Ultra limited, huh? That's kind of sad. Let's see what it is. I think Kevin kind of effed himself with that whole He-Man thing. Because that was a core... To me, that was his core audience. A bunch of nerds, you know? Sam and Twitch? No, that's not out yet. Hollyweed? TV movie? No, that was a few years ago. Walrus, yes. The Making of Tusk. No, I'm not seeing it here. Maybe it's not listed yet. John Adams. The Fellowship of the Ring has a chapter called A Shortcut to Mushrooms. I always thought it'd make a good band name. Ardent. Is it called Baristas? Oh, Indie Phantom. Something like 4:30. The 4:30 movie it's called. Yeah, why isn't it listed here? I thought he directed it. There it is. The 4:30 movie. Here it is. Yeah, this actually looks okay. Like, it looks like an 80s movie. Kinda. Ardent. All Kevin's talent was in his adipose? Indie. Those are producer credits. Yeah. Now, this is it. So, yeah, this is going to be... a movie about movies. It's a bit, uh, what's the word? Incestuous when it comes to Kevin. It's the kind of movie he could have made. I don't know, like he could have made this movie 10, 20 years ago, really. Um, and now it's a little long to be making a movie like this, but it at least looks fun and maybe isn't connected to his, weird New Jersey universe. I think it's completely separate from that. So it doesn't look bad. It don't look great, but if they had made this movie 20 years ago, it probably would have done really well. So it's a bit politically incorrect. And I've said for I don't know how long that they would go back to doing movies that are period pieces because you can get away. Indie Phantom looks okay. Yeah, it doesn't look bad. It's like he can do that movie and go back to his old shtick and do real jokes because he doesn't have to worry about being politically incorrect. Now if he gets called out about doing something sexist or whatever, he could just say, well, it took place in the 80s. I can't do anything about it. Blame the 80s. Don't blame me. But like if he made that movie and it was made and it took place in 2024, they could trounce him potentially. Indie Phantom, but while he can't get into wider distribution, but after Yoga Hoosers and Tusk, well, he hasn't had a hit in I don't know how long. Quite frankly, I think he's here's my opinion on Kevin. Indie Phantom, Clerks 3, I really didn't like. Yeah, like the problem is he had a hit with Clerks. He made sequels and spin-offs and whatnot, and Hollywood will kind of stick you in that mode. Indie Phantom, I still think the first Clerks is his best. Yeah, I do too. Like he got sort of stuck in that mode, and that's what Hollywood does. They sort of typecast you. They stick you in the same mode because they think, well, that's where the money is. And look, in their defense, in Kevin, you look at the other movies he did, and they didn't do anything, right? He also did that movie Red State. Like, the bottom line is, I think with Kevin, he's not a very good screenwriter. And he's an okay director, and sometimes he's a really good director. Like, he directed the pilot episode of Reaper, which had a really good script, and it was good. I watched that first episode, and I go, wow, I'm going to watch this show. Then I watched the second episode, which wasn't directed by him, and it was like, eh. It was boring. I stopped watching it. But, man, the first one, it's really funny. And so he has the talent to do it, but he needs a screenwriter is what he needs. If he had a really good screenwriter, I think he'd be fine, as long as it's in his wheelhouse of like slacker comedy. Like, I think he could do well, but I wouldn't trust him far outside of that genre, whatever you'd want to call it. And I don't think he makes great decisions. Like, okay, he gets to write his own screenplays, but like Chasing Amy was a terrible screenplay in my view. Like, he had some good bits in the beginning, and the ending of that thing is just, what the hell is happening? It's worse than Stephen King and It. JC, I don't think he's ever really had a hit. His stuff did good as rentals. Ardent, Dogma was pretty good. Or Dogma was good. Hasn't aged well, though. Indie Phantom, Chasing Amy is very false to me and kind of woke before woke. Yeah. JC, remember Cop Out? I remember being at SHOT, and I remember hearing all the stories. And it's interesting to look back on that, too. Indie Phantom, Cop Out is another turkey. Because the problems they had with Bruce Willis on that set, I contend, looking back on it, that it may have been, Bruce forgetting that he was told something and getting mad at being given more direction. Because he may have been starting to lose it then, and he may have started to forget things and then got frustrated on the set. It's a shame. Indie Phantom, Dogma just doesn't work. George Carlin wasn't even funny in it. JC, he's got good comedic timing, but that's about it. Yeah. Yeah, so if he had a solid screenplay that was funny, and I could totally deliver him one, and it would take place in Jersey 90% of the time, he'd be great. He'd be fine with it, but part of the problem in Hollywood is you need guys who are willing, like Clint Eastwood is one of these guys. Clint Eastwood understands that he needs a screenwriter, or that at the very least he understands that he must respect the screenwriter, right? So he picks a good script, he follows it mostly, I think, and doesn't like veer off in weird stuff. And Indie Phantom, Clerks animated show was decent. Yeah, you know what I like? I like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I like that one too. But he's got more misses than hits. I think the 4:30 movie will not do great simply because it takes place in the 80s, and the people who are aimed at, vis-a-vis me, like I would be a guy who would go see a movie called the 4:30 movie if I knew about it, maybe, and people in my age group. But people in my age group, we're kind of done with movies. Like, it's rare we go to movies. We're older. We don't want to spend a lot of money. The movie theaters suck. It's not the experience we're used to. And most movies aren't catered to us. So, consequently, most of us are out of the habit of going to the movies. You need to make a movie that would cater to people. You need to make a movie that would cater to people who actually go to movies. What am I getting text? What is she texting about? Hold on, I'm getting a text. Okay. And I don't think Kevin can do that. I don't know if he has the capability. Like when he first started out, he was a young guy and his slacker movies were appealing because slackers were going to the movies. Now, I don't know what he's going to do. Eastwood is damn reliable, says Indie Phantom. You're damn right he is. He has another flick premiering soon. Yeah, even like Cry Macho, I haven't seen it, and it looks woke as F, but I bet it's damn watchable. Indie Phantom, most movie theaters suck now. They have a nice projector in my apartment, and I could just enjoy stuff at home now. Yeah, that's another thing. Like, I would rather watch the movie at my place or my girl's place. And Carter Chain, / I would rather watch at home. The screens are big enough. We can pause the movie, go to the bathroom, make a sandwich, zoom through boring parts, whatever. And, if you miss a line, you can wind it back. So, it's just, movie theaters are more trouble than they're worth now. You go out to the theater, you pay all this money, the food's expensive, and then you might get in a bad crowd. You might get a bad seat. You got to pick your seat now, which I really hate. I hate picking my seat. I don't want to pick my seat. I want to go to the theaters like a normal human being and sit, first come, first serve. But now we have reserved seating, and it annoys me. And why it annoys me is some people pick reserved seatings and then they don't show up for whatever reason. Ardent, would be nice if Eastwood did a final Dirty Harry, kind of an old school cops take on modern mix with some good action. He's way too old for that now. He's finally starting to show his age. He outlived his girlfriend, by the way. His girlfriend just died recently. She was 63 or 66, I think. He's 90-something. And he's finally starting to walk with a cane. And he's walking. He seems pretty good. Like, Gene Hackman is the same age, but he looks rough. He looks like he's done. George Lazenby just retired. He's up there. So, the only guy who walks around now at that age is Shatner and Clint Eastwood. Uh, John Adams, I can't bring my dog to the theater either. Yeah, another good point. Indie Phantom. Yeah, I use subtitles at home too because the actors mumble and sound mixes are all over the place now. 100%. 100%. Um, my girlfriend is making funny suggestions over text. Um, yeah, I do the same thing. I put on the subtitles just because I can't understand the damn movie sometimes. John Adams, I love picking my seat and the plushy recliner chairs on the rare occasion that I do go to the theater. Ardent, good on him. Indy, Deadpool was kind of the final Dirty Harry, released around the same month as first Beetlejuice. Um, yeah, the theater experience for me is just, it could be better, but they refuse to make it better. They refuse to invest any money in it because they think from the corporate end, they're seeing it as a dying industry and they're just gonna let it die and squeeze out all the money they can before it completely goes. I think at some point you're going to see the collapse of theater chains, and then the only guys left to run theaters will be cinemaphiles who are really into it and always wanted to run a theater, and maybe they're a little rich and they can keep the theater going, something like that. Indie Phantom, John, I pass out in those chairs. Yeah, me too. They're a little too comfortable. I would also like a Bruin View kind of deal. We don't have one in New Jersey for various reasons, where you could like order your dinner and watch a movie, that kind of thing. It needs to have. I didn't think the last movie theater I went to was for Deadpool 2. The theater experience, part of the problem is this, and this is going to sound weird, but I think it's true. People are a-holes, and we no longer have a common experience with a lot of people. So first off, forget about going to movie theaters in the city. I mean, you're out of your mind. I would never go to a movie theater in Philly anymore. I used to, and even back when I went, like in the 2000s, it sucked. There are a lot of crazy people who go to the movie theater in Philly, and just a bunch of kids who they're completely out of control, like completely. Indie Phantom, I don't understand how my local cinemas stay in business, only busy on cheap nights. Yeah, there's just no reason to go. So I think they see it as a collapsing industry they're going to let die, and then it'll just be cinemaphiles running it. Well, I don't know what she's talking about now. Oh, I think she's talking about what we were doing last night. Oh, okay. Uh, Alex, people are a-holes. Looks like I joined the stream exactly at the right time. Welcome, Alex. Welcome to the stream. Low Alex says, Ardent. Yeah, I mean, so now we have a situation like in my neck of the woods in South Jersey. Like I just went to the theaters and the audience was fine, but I went to go see Am I Racist? And I expected the theater to be partially filled, and it was really not a lot of people, but they were all older people because they were probably all fans of Matt Walsh, and they were well behaved. But if you go to say even my local theater to see like I don't know, Guardians of the Galaxy or something like that on premiere day, it's out of control. I mean, people are screaming at the screen and they're on their phones and they're talking, and it's like, and it's always sort of been that way, but there was an understanding back when, movies were real and not on the internet or whatever, that this was the only time you were going to see the movie. Shut the F up. So there was more at stake, and now there isn't. So, JC, Alex Ogle, we were just talking about you. LOL, just kidding. Alex, I only go to the local cinema here when there's a rare good film I want to see. I only go to that one because the chairs recline and you can take beer into the theater. It costs extra, but I go rarely. Alex at JC, you know me too well. John Adams, when I saw Star Trek reboot in 2009 at the theater, they had to stop the film to kick out a group of a dozenish teenagers that were being too rowdy. That would almost never happen in New Jersey, I think. It definitely wouldn't happen in Philadelphia. Because everybody running the theater, at least in my neck of the woods, a few of them are above the age of 20. I mean, you know, the guys sweeping up the theater are the same thing as the usher. Oh, it turns out my girlfriend has watched every second of this stream, and she's cracking herself up on the text. Yeah, the film experience just sucks. It just sucks, and I would rather not go. I would rather watch films and be home and be cozy, and and not deal with idiots. Very rarely, and like, because TVs are big now too, like, you're not missing much on that wide screen because you Ardent, really sorry, Tony's girlfriend. Yeah, I mean, you're not missing much, I think. If you got a decent sized TV and you're relatively close to it in the room you're watching it, and for me, my computer screen's more than enough for me. Very rarely do I watch a movie on my computer even and say, oh man, I wish I watched this on the big screen, because they're just not made for that anymore. They kind of can't be. Indie Phantom, I love my local art house, but only get there a couple of times a year. They do serve cheaper food, and the staff is super friendly and just great. Yeah, so I think those places will be the future, but I think they'll be rare. There'll be like one movie theater in your area, and it'll just, it'll be like a non-profit probably thing, and they'll show old movies, and there won't be first-run movies. I think first-run movies will just go away. Indie Phantom, sell beer and coffee. Yeah. I think they could save the chains by saying, okay, here's how we're going to save the chains. We're going to sell beer. We're going to sell booze. We're going to get a liquor license for all of them. We're going to have a bar, and everybody will get loaded before the theater. Like, that to me sounds like an idea. Sounds like an idea that can work. It wouldn't cost them too much. It would cost them more, but it would be an investment in saving movies, and people would go. Who wouldn't want to go to a movie and get loaded? A lot of people would love it. You could also, with the extra income, hopefully kick up the food so it would be halfway decent, or at least worth the exorbitant amount of money you're paying. Again, I would make the popcorn free. I would just give it away, or at least give away a bag with a ticket and say, would you like a drink? Because that's how they get people in bars to drink. They give them salty snacks, they get thirsty, and they buy something. Ardent, I think if they went to the European model where you can get sit and eat as you watch, you could work too. Yeah, I would be into that. I think I would see classic movies like that, as opposed to, I wouldn't want to see a first run movie that way. Like Getting Drunk and Rowdy, certain movies, first run, I would go see. Like back in the day, me and my friends would go see an action movie. Now, I wouldn't drink, but my friends loved to drink. I'd be the driver, and they could show up, buy a bunch of beers, get loaded, and we could watch the movie and get rowdy, and then, be on our way. I think people would still do that. Alex Ogle, I would go to our local arty cinema, except they show the wokest nonsense. Yeah, even in the, yeah. All right, let's check the trades. Let's see what's going on there. Alex, I'd go more often if Sydney Sweeney would show me to my seat. So would I. Something she should think about. Thanks for mentioning her. Ardent at Alex, LOL. All right. At Fandom Pulse, serious leftist troll Paul Weimer used as pull quote for Howard Andrew Jones' new Hanuvar book in Giant Mistake from Baen Books. Paul Weimer is a blight on science fiction fandom, and Baen Books needs to get this removed for the legacy of Howard Andrew Jones as a sword and sorcery writer. I'm not sure about this dude. I don't know the fight, but is this uh, John's article? He's usually pretty good on this stuff. I have nobody who wrote this thing. The credits. I think it's probably John. It just says Fandom Pulse. Um, Indie Phantom. Yeah, wokeness is why I rarely go to the art house now. JEC. He's a P word. I don't know if I should say that about him, but I don't know anything about him, but I'll take your word for it. I mean, that picture ain't doing him any favors in my view. Donnie Coates and Ray Stegman throw shade at Marvel Comics over the reveal of Venom, The Last Dance, using Null and not paying them. Marvel Comics doesn't pay creators much, if anything, for use of their characters like Null in Venom, The Last Dance. Donnie Coates and Ryan Stegman call them out. Oh, they didn't get paid? Well, that seems wrong. JC, Don Delarose has a hate boner for this whole sci-fi scene. Yeah, although that does seem to be a lot going on. I mean, part of it is self-serving in that he's an author too, and he's trying to push his books, and he seems to be doing okay. But yeah, it seems to be a lot of shenanigans in the sci-fi fantasy world. But yeah, it doesn't surprise me that Marvel stiffed talent. But, you know, I mean, maybe they got a lawsuit. I don't know. I don't know all the details. Good news at Gen Con. Apparently, they fired a bunch of their woke staff. So that's a good idea. They kicked out all the woke writers in their symposium. So maybe Gen Con's going based. I don't know. JC, I watched JDA streams too. You should try and reach out to him. Oh, I wrote like a couple of things on Fandom Pulse. He's a cool guy. Yeah, maybe I'll get on his stream. I maybe have me. I don't know. I think I'm based enough. All right. Is there anything else? Oh yeah, this was okay. This one. Hold on to your seats for this one. Johnny Storm bangs a creepy-looking alien in new Fantastic Four issue by Ryan North and Marvel Comics. So this was something that happened a few days ago. As you can see, Johnny Storm very much embracing a weird-looking alien. And here he is falling in love with the alien, and then at some point they talk about kissing. "Oh, Johnny," says the alien. JC, they fired everyone. Good. It's probably the right move. Alex Ogle, trust me to get into the Horus Heresy series of books. Just at the time, Games Workshop are insisting the Space Marines are trans. Yeah, the stuff that's going on with Wokehammer is pretty sad. Ardent at Alex, oof, that's gotta suck. Not the first time Johnny went like Captain Kirk route. Remember Secret Wars? What did Johnny do in Secret Wars? I don't remember. But the way this is presented is weird because it feels very much like fanfic, and I think that's what Marvel has degenerated into. They're hiring like the worst writers imaginable, and they're so hyper focused on sex and relationships. It's like the dumbest fan fiction. And look at this moon in the background. What the hell is that? It's like a moon with sides to it. You not draw a circle anymore at Marvel Comics? JC, JDA is growing quick. He's been copying quartering videos, just reading his own articles. He's up to over 30K subs on YouTube, more than 10,000 subs over the summer. Well, good for him. Yeah, maybe I got to get on the show. Alex at Arden, I got as far as Prospero's Bums, apparently the last good one, before I found out. Ooh, rough. Indie Phantom, Johnny Storm reminds me of how much I loathe Chris Evans. Well, you must have found it hilarious in that Deadpool scene. Ardent, I'm only peripherally aware of the woke 40K stuff outside of that amazing Astari's fan film. Oh, you should check out Space King from the guys at Flash Gits. That's pretty funny. JC, what keyword? Degenerate. Indie Phantom, the art looks really bad. Yeah, it does not look good at all. Alex, first rule of tainting a culture: turn it all, Brave New World. Only then can we take it 1984. I mean, I think all this is doing. See, the assumption, I think, and I see what you're saying in terms of the theory, right? The theory being that, you know, you will have no place to hide from this woke garbage is the idea, right? You will have no succor, as the saying goes. John Adams, I've got an army of tyrannids I need to get around to painting. I got put off by the female custodes controversy. Yeah, you could always make a new game, use your figures. Ardent, LOL, I have Space King queued up for immediately after this. It's very funny. It's very funny. JC, looks like Johnny was supposed to have some dialogue in that one panel, but they didn't put anything. Maybe. Indie Phantom, yeah, the Deadpool storm gag was amusing enough. Ardent, yeah. JC, but everything ever made is online for free, so it's easy not to engage with this woke stuff, though. Indie Phantom, those cameos mostly suck, though. Oh, I love the Blade one. I really do. Alex, ha ha ha. Tony, your pronunciation is terrible. Yes, it is. But I don't care. Usually I don't care. But yeah, the thing is, you will have no succor. And I know that's wrong. So, so you'll have no place to go for your, your heroes and whatnot. But that's not totally true. All they're doing is destroying the guys on top and giving us guys on the bottom a chance to steal their audience, which we are doing as fast as humanly possible. Ardent at JEC, indeed, Conan is public domain, and I mean to dive into it before too long. Yeah, a lot of people are. Mark Millar is all set to do his own Superman series the moment that thing hits public domain. He's starting it up ahead of time, and a lot of guys will, and a lot of them will be good. You'll find other stuff. The only thing they're doing, because we still have if we didn't have a capitalist system, if we had a system where this was it, this was the only stuff you could buy, well, yeah, then we'd all be screwed and all be depressed because, you'd go out to the movie theater and it'd always be these 10 woke movies and that's it. There would literally be nothing else. But there's tons of other material. All these idiots are doing is they're burning their audience as fast as possible, and all their audience is constantly on the verge of quitting. Everybody in the world of comics was constantly on the verge of quitting when it was halfway decent in the 90s. And they were, look, I was running a comic book store back then. There were very few loyal Marvel guys. There was one guy in my store. He read Avengers, and he came into the store every week, and every week he'd complain about Avengers, and every week I would say to him, well, stop buying it. He said, I can't. I've been buying Avengers since the beginning. I literally have every issue. I go, yeah, but these issues are terrible. Stop buying it. He goes, I can't. I go, you can. I said, you can always go back and buy the terrible issues if you have to have them, but why keep giving them money? They're not going to change the comic They make it good until you vote with your dollar and stop giving them your money. And he eventually quit Avengers. It took me a few weeks, but eventually he said, "You know what?" I said, "Yeah, look at some other comics, for crying out loud." But people, besides being a-holes, they're also weak, and they get into these modes and they watch things, and then they kind of don't want to stop. I mean, I was that way with The Simpsons. I had plenty of friends who said, "Oh, The Simpsons haven't been good in years." I'm like, "Nah, they're still pretty good. Come on. They're still good. It's still good." Remember that bit in The Simpsons? "It's still good. It's still good. We'll just wash it off under the sink. It's still good." But even I eventually got disgusted with the woke stuff and quit. So, oh boy, I missed a bunch of comments. John Adams, this is the reason why Magna took over quickly versus Western comics. Agree. Ardent, nice. When does it hit public domain, Superman? Not for like 4 or 5 years, I think. Ardent, I want to do Electric Superman all over again. Oh, with the weird sort of ice skating suit he was the like ice skater suit, the red and blue Superman. JC, I like Robert E. Howard writing. I actually like Solomon Kane better than Conan. Razor Fist agrees with you. Indie Phantom, critics scared to review Am I Racist, apparently. Yes, they will not review it. They refuse to review it because they're so wonderful. I mean, what's more wonderful than being a critic to refuse to look at a movie just because we all know what you're going to say about it anyway? Ardent, at JEC, the oldest comic I ever had was Solomon Kane from the 70s. Ooh, that's kind of a rarity. Alex Ogle, at Indie Fandom, they're not scared to review it. They're scared they might say something positive about it. Probably. Indie Phantom, that new GTA game must have been woke as F because they are delaying it like 2 more years now. 2 more years? Probably doesn't work. It probably has so many bugs in it they can't release it. Indie Phantom, exactly, Alex. Don the Second is here. Welcome, Don. Do you think the new Fantastic Four will be any good? No, I don't have much hope for it. I mean, I don't like Pedro Pascal in the lead. I think he's wrong for the part. The rumor is Sue Storm's going to be the boss of the team, and she's not, for various reasons. The concept isn't really great for a movie. It's better for a TV show. If anything should have been a Disney Plus show for Marvel, it should have been a Fantastic Four. That could have been their premiere, excuse me, Disney Plus show. But now I've heard some good buzz, but it's kind of too early. None of the clips have come out. So apparently the plot's going to be that it takes place in the 60s. Kind of like in the sort of like if you ever watched the Venture Brothers, it would be the time period of like Jonas Venture when he was like king of the scientific community. So it's kind of going to be like that. And then I think the premise is they end up transported because the Fantastic Four would go into different dimensions. They eventually end up in the dimension with Marvel, the current Marvel world, and then I don't know. It sounds like it's going to be a disaster already to me, but I haven't seen Frame 1 yet, so we don't really know. Ardent at Indie Phantom, it was, and that is good news. JEC, it's just a little airborne. Ardent, LOL. The blue luge leotard, LOL, yeah. Oh, yeah, what's the name's wearing? Indie Phantom, I will write a public domain Clark Kent slasher just for Tony. No, don't do that. Indie Phantom, Pedro Pascal is another kryptonite troll actor to me. Yeah, I don't really like him. He's gotten way too political. Don the Second, the plot is weird, LOL. I love the Venture Bros. Geez, I forgot about that show. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Ardent, the little bit of Venture Brothers I've seen reminds me of Doc Savage for some reason. Yeah, there's a lot of parodies of Doc Savage in it. Jonas Venture in the show who's dead by the time the series starts is supposed to be like a Doc Savage character. He's super strong. He's a scientist. He's from that era. But ultimately, even the Venture Brothers is really it's not woke, but it's deconstructing that entire milieu. So it in some ways it's kind of sad when you really think about it, because everybody on the show is a loser in one way or another, but it was funny. Kite is here. Oh, Kite was here, but he's talking again. Pedro Pascal is wrong for every part, but creepy men that can't keep their hands to themselves are popular in Hollywood, especially now that they can claim anxiety. Oh, yeah. So Pedro Pascal was on stage and then grabbed his co-star or something, and didn't really grope her, but like grabbed her hand or something, and then claimed he had anxiety and that's why he needed to touch somebody, or I don't know, something like that. Kite, and especially if they spout a message without ever letting up, which he does, he's very much a woke guy. John Adams at Dawn the Second. There is a Venture Bros movie now that wraps up the plot from the end of the last season. It's well worth it. Yeah, I like that. It was pretty good. Alex, superhero film, Pitch, Bikini Girl. Sydney Sweeney stops crime and all straight male activity, for that matter, by turning up in a bikini as often as possible. I like it. Get me a draft by Tuesday. Don the Second at John Adams. Thanks. John Adams, a good example of that deconstruction is the Scooby-Doo parody characters in that Venture Brothers episode. Yes, with the clones. They're all horrible characters. Yes. Yes. There's very few Venture Brothers episodes that are actually hopeful. There's a couple, but not many. All right, let's see what's going on in Variety. Emmy predictions, like anyone cares. There was a headline, I forget what publication. Oh, I think it was the New York Post. The Emmys are the most useless awards ceremony in history, which basically is true. Ardent at Alex, better than Stripperella already. Yes. Or it's going to be Barbarella. Barbarella she's supposed to be. Donald Trump rages at Taylor Swift after singer endorses Kamala Harris. I hate Taylor Swift. I really wouldn't call that a rage, but he did say that on a tweet for some reason. But I don't know. Trump does things, and then the next day he makes millions of dollars, or it totally works out for him. Again, he has the luck of Hemingway from the Pineys. Everything just works out for him. Ardent, LOL, the Emmys are probably on now. Oh, I don't care about the Emmys. God, I can barely stomach the Oscars. I mean, the Emmys. Psh. I mean, I haven't watched a single TV show in I don't know how long. They don't even make sense now. How do you even do the Emmys? Like, it used to be the Emmys were about what was on ABC, CBS, NBC. And then you added Fox. And now it's like, how could you not add Amazon and all the others? And the network TV looks unwatchable to me. I mean, like, and I've heard that from so many different people. Like, oh, I don't watch regular TV anymore. It sucks. There's like nothing worth a damn. They don't even seem to put any kind of real backing behind it. And they, again, I mean, part of it is the DEI hires. I mean, let's just say it. The DEI hires are the worst possible people to put in positions of creative endeavors. Now, you could maybe get away with DEI hires in craft services, or maybe in some of the more technical aspects, assuming you had a decent enough supervisor to continue to train them if they were unqualified for their position. Like, if you're just running cables on a set and you do it wrong and you have a supervisor, well, the supervisor can correct you. But if you have DEI hires in the world of creativity, you're going to cause a huge explosion of problems, because it's already a problem if you just have creative people in the same room, because creative people, they tend to be volatile artists, and they tend to have opinions on things, especially stuff they create, even if it's stuff for another show. So if you're going to have a discussion about what's good and what's not good, and then it turns to race and then gender, you're screwed. Like, even if I was lucky enough to be on a network show, right, and I'm the head writer, and I got some new DEI hire because the studio wanted, like, at least, I don't know, 3 people of color on the staff, and they had to be women, and then the women come to me with these terrible scripts because they were completely unqualified for the job, and the only reason they got hired was because of the DEI initiatives. What am I supposed to do? Now, if I'm doing my job, I'm going to tell them, well, you got to rewrite this. This is terrible. Their reaction is not going to be one of, oh, okay. They're not going to do that. They're going to go, well, you're obviously racist and blah, blah, blah. Because that's the reason they got hired. They got hired to fix the racism. And if you've got a head writer who's a DEI hired, you might as well throw the show right in the garbage. Because what is the DEI hire going to do if they're a head writer? They won't even know what to do. You can't hire unqualified people based on race or ethnicity or gender or whatever, whoever they like to bang or what they like to present as or whatever. You can only hire based on merit, especially in Hollywood. If you're writing a comedy show, the only rule is it has to be funny, right? You can't hire a guy on Seinfeld and just because he's a different color and expect him to be funny. He might be. But if you hired him solely based on his race, he's probably not going to be funny. He's probably just going to be the right race. And that doesn't give you any writing skill whatsoever. Ardent, I'd watch any award show if they get Ricky Gervais to host. So would I. But they won't, because they don't care about the money anymore, apparently. I mean, they're so deep into the ESG nonsense, I don't think they care about the money. I mean, there's money behind the scenes to be made with the ESG because they get huge loans at super cut rates, and then they can make a movie like Inside Out on a cut rate, make $1 billion, and they've saved, I don't know, $100 million or whatever they saved. But overall, they're losing money on the brand. At some point, the brand will snap in half. Disney's almost there. Like, the parks are dying. Everything I hear coming out of the parks is not great. Although one of my relatives went recently. He seemed to have a good time, but I don't know. I don't think that's a good long-term strategy. I think Disney will be slowly eaten away by Universal. And once Universal gets their Harry Potter world up and a few other things, they'll run them right over. Alex, many tragically lefty Canadians I know are reposting that song about Haitians eating cats, not realizing they are playing right into his hands. Yeah, that's a perfect example. The guy who wrote or put together the Haitian cat song, if you haven't heard it, it's really funny. They're eating the cats. Ardent, there's a song. There absolutely is a song. Don the Second, I haven't watched TV in so long. You should look up the song They're Eating the Cats, because it was made by a guy who's a socialist, and he used Donald Trump quotes and Hassan Piker, a YouTuber who's also a socialist, in the quotes. He thought he was making Trump look like a fool. Instead, everybody embraced the song, and now the Trumpers love it, and they're playing it constantly on X. They're reposting it nonstop. It's a cool song. They're reposting it on Twitter, and they're lip syncing to it and dancing to it. It completely blew up in their face. But the left can't meme. And when they do, they end up memeing the wrong way. Don the Second, man, maybe I should break into the industry. There's no way it's that hard to come up with ideas for movies and other stuff. LOL. Yeah, you would think. The problem is, well, wait a minute. You're black. Maybe they'll give you a shot. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, why not? Better yet, I'll write the scripts for you. You just put your name on it and we'll split the money. There you go. Alex, at Ardent, a remix. The left don't realize how good it makes Trump look. It really does. Don the Second, but that's why I like music, because it can really be independent. I'd like to think so. Although, depressingly, at the top, they're only like, what, like 6 major music producers, and they mix all the big music. Ardent at Don the Second. Yeah, the last 3 new artists I started listening to: Tom McDonald, Adam Jansen, and Clamavi de Profundis, I discovered on YouTube. Yeah, it's hard to put the genie back in the bottle at this point. Alex Ogle at Don the Second. I only have TV subscription for the sports channels to watch F1. Is that football? The Azerbaijan race was a superb one this morning. John Adams. It's also especially bad in tech and some engineering disciplines. Yes, talking about DEI. Arden at Alex Ogle. I think you dig my friend Kiza's Broken Engine streams on Saturday. Might have to check that out. Don the Second at Ardent. Thanks for the suggestions, man. Ardent at Don. There's a big range of genres there. Don at Alex. Yeah, one of the only good reasons to keep a subscription. Ardent. Someone called Kiffness, apparently. Ardent. Already found it. Originality scares Hollywood. Don the Second. I assume laughing at me. Maybe. Smart business moves, dude. Don the Second. F1 is racing. Oh, right. Yeah, the F1 cars. I should have known that. I knew that, but I forgot. It's hard to read and think at the same time. If you remember who Perry Farrell is and Dave Navarro, they were in Jane's Addiction, a band that was big in the 90s. They got into a fight on stage. I'm not sure who was at fault, but there's an article about it here if you're interested. Indie Phantom. I really want to start watching the old Columbo series from the start. God, it's good. It is pretty good, actually. I used to watch Columbo back in the day. I think by then it was reruns. Just one more thing. Both Shatner and Leonard Nimoy are on it, which is kind of funny. As murderers, of course. Because it's always the big star who's the murderer. Ardent. That Ink Master guy. Lamau. What's going on in Variety? Donald Trump marks safe as FBI investigate what appears to be an attempted assassination at his Florida golf club. Well, they kind of covered it correctly on Variety. Good on them, I guess. How to watch the 2024 Emmy Awards live. Here's something. You can watch it by not watching it at all. Okay. Nothing really exciting going on in Variety. Ardent. I saw the vid of that fight. Perry looked drunk, wasted, and just over-aggressive. Indie Phantom. Nimoy was as the bad doc is masterful. The all-time greatest thing, if you're a fan of the old Star Trek, is T.J. Hooker did an episode, and that starred Shatner. He was T.J. Hooker, and Leonard Nimoy was the bad guy in that. So it was them two back together again in a TV episode, which was kind of cool. Ardent. Ironically, there were 3 future Voyager actors on the same episode of Murder, She Wrote. Oh, wow. Let's see. The bizarre Tobe Hopper sci-fi horror film Life Force is finally getting the attention it deserves. Really? This movie was good? Decades ago. Huh. Go figure. I don't know. I remember this movie in theaters. I didn't go see it. More bad news from for Neil Gaiman this week. Another project got killed. More accusations. He seems to be spiraling down. So I'm kind of shocked. I really didn't think he was a bad dude, but it doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for Neil Gaiman. Ardent, LOL. If it's the Life Force movie I'm thinking of, the female lead just walks around naked the whole film. Well, that doesn't sound too bad. What else? Without meaning to, Todd Phillips exposes the chaos of making Joker folie à deux and the difficulty of working with Joaquin Phoenix. I am so on the fence about this movie. Every update sounds like it's going to be a disaster, but I really want to believe in Todd Phillips. I didn't think the first movie was going to be that great, but it was really good. I don't know, man. Indie Phantom. Oh, I need to see that, Hooker. I loved Locklear as a young lad. We all loved Locklear as a young lad. The Sydney Sweeney of her day. More on the Emmys that no one seems to care about. Harris Walz campaign responds to Trump's "I hate Taylor Swift" comments with singer's song lyrics. Well, that sounds really important. It won't respond to doing more interviews in the economy, but you'll defend Taylor Swift to the death. What else? Bill Maher is amazed by Taylor Swift and George Clooney's influence on the 2024 election. I think it's completely exaggerated. I don't think there's a person I know who would say, "Oh, Taylor Swift said that? Well, I've changed my opinion." Same thing with George Clooney, especially George Clooney. People kind of hate George Clooney these days. They've kind of always hated him, really. LOL says Ardent would be really ironic if Taylor sued them for copyright infringement. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to happen. But you never know. All right, moving to Bleeding Fool. Bunch of reviews of old stuff. New Fleischer Brothers documentary wins $200,000 award from Library of Congress. Okay, that's kind of cool, I guess. Josh Brolin passes on HBO's Green Lantern series, Lanterns. Oh, good. Good for you, Josh Brolin. Because I believe Damon Lindelof is working on this series, and I consider him the Antichrist of screenwriters. So, you think I hate Longlegs. I hate Damon Lindelof with a burning passion of 1,000 suns. Don the Second. If musicians are who you use to bank your political opinions on, you have bigger issues to deal with. Yes. Ardent, that Transformers 1 flick looked like garbage, cannon-breaking garbage at that. I don't know if it's that. Yeah, actually it is cannon-breaking. I think I determined that when I watched the trailer. But there was an episode of the original Transformers, which is basically this whole movie, I think. Or pretty close to it. Ardent, Brolin should flee from any comics-based properties if he can. He's already played three big characters in the movies. I think he's a really good actor, though. I can see why they keep going back to him, but all right, let's go to Deadline. Nothing really dropping in the news. I skipped like a Hollywoke hot take this week. I don't think I missed a step. Bradley Whitford to miss with a West Wing White House celebration and rumored Emmy reunion. Oh no! Bradley Whitford! Oh no! It was like the wokest guy in Hollywood. I believe this was the same guy who suggested that RFK Jr.'s wife dress him down for supporting Trump and possibly leave him was the suggestion. It was crazy. Indie Phantom, Swifties gag me with a spoon. Remember that from the 80s? Oh, I love that song. It's the only Frank Zappa song I like, really. Ardent, Jonah Hex, Thanos, and Cable. Oh, right, I forgot about Jonah Hex. Didn't he have another character? Jonah Hex, Cable. Did he do somebody in the DC universe? Oh, maybe I'm thinking of Jonah Hex. I don't know. Don the Second, there's a free channel on my Roku that plays old Transformers episodes. Oh, that sounds awesome. Indie Phantom, I like Rumble bonus vids, but the comments are harder to navigate. Yeah, they really are. Rumble's still going through some growing pains. The sorting is gotten better. Ardent, who was the other one? I missed one. Yeah, I thought there was one more in DC. Down the second. The only movies I saw in theaters this year was Bad Boys 4 and Deadpool and Wolverine. I heard Bad Boys was pretty decent. All right, let's go see Josh Brolin. I thought he was in one other thing. Comic book wise. Ardent, okay. The ads are annoying with the volume shoots up 30%. Looking now. I'm going to win. Let me see. On a range, Dune, What If. That doesn't really count. Avengers Endgame. I thought, wasn't he one other thing in DC? Guardians of the Galaxy. He's Thanos again. Men in Black. Jonah Hex. No. No, I guess he really didn't have a big DC role yet. I don't know what I was thinking of. Indie Phantom, Bad Boys was better than Deadpool, in my humble opinion. Interesting. Interesting. MIB was a comic book property. Yeah, I guess that counts, but I was thinking there was another DC one. I don't know why I thought that. Paul Rubens tribute. Fred Armisen, Tony Hawk, and Danny Elfman attend Pee-wee's Big Adventure screening at Actors Final Resting Place. Okay, I guess. It's kind of weird watching Pee-wee and his grave, I guess. It's a Halloween thing to do. Ardent, he was in Sin City flick too. Oh, that's another comic book movie. Kamala Harris to make first Los Angeles fundraising swing since launching presidential campaign event scheduled for September 29th. So all the Hollywood guys will have to pour the money into him or her. Indie Phantom, was Jim Carrey's career killed because of him or the backlash on that brand of comedy? I think it was more him. I think he got away from comedy. He wanted to be a serious actor. It kind of worked for a while, but ultimately he made the leap, I think, right around the time he was sort of worn his welcome out with his crazy comedy movies, and then didn't quite make the leap, and he's sort of in, but he's sort of not, and he's tried to make the serious actor leap a bunch of times and since, and it hasn't really worked out for him. Meanwhile, like he's in the Sonic movies, people love him in that. He's kind of made his money. He doesn't really even need a movie. He also got involved with Jenny McCarthy. He was married to her, and there was a big bad divorce, I remember. And wasn't there one of his girlfriends died or was killed or something? I'm remembering that. Ardent, so technically 5. Yeah, it wasn't what I was thinking of, but yeah. Don the Second at Indie Phantom, the plot was definitely more put together. Ardent, Paul Rubens died? Oh, come on, you knew he was dead. Indie Phantom, yes, Don. Ardent, Carrie had a couple of big bombs. Eternal Sunshine. Yeah, although generally Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind is considered a decent art house movie, if it didn't make any money. People tend to remember it fondly, so. But I don't think that really killed his career. I think he just kind of didn't do enough movies. John Adams, cemeteries used to be open to the public, and people used them as sort of like parks for things like picnics. That's true. That's big in Mexico. Day of the Dead. That's what they do. Alex, Carrey is a classic bipolar. He's a modern day Peter Sellers, but without the range. Maybe. Yeah, I mean, like, you'd think he'd have segued into, like, kind of Bill Murray. Like, Bill Murray tried a serious movie. It didn't work. But then he segued into movies that were funny, but they were more nuanced. They weren't, like, giant slapstick comedies, but they were, like, you know, like stuff like Rushmore, where he could be funny, but it was, like, also acting. You'd think he'd do more of that. John Adams, there's a famous cemetery in Scotland that Harry Potter fans like to tour because Rowling used a bunch of names on the gravestones for her characters. Huh, interesting. Ardent, Truman Show was way better than Eternal Sunshine. Never saw Man in the Moon, but his personality seemed to change after playing Kaufman. Yeah, I forgot about Man in the Moon. Yeah, that did okay. And Truman Show I saw, that was good. Indie Phantom, I only remember Kirsten Dunst dancing in undies in Eternal Sunshine. Giggity. Ardent, Indie Phantom sounds traumatic. Indie Phantom, Bill Murray was cool in the Wild Things cameo. Yeah, Bill Murray's always cool. He knows, like, Bill Murray is very, it strikes me as mostly very laid back, and he's okay with most things, and he kind of does his job. He's still kind of a hippie at heart. That's why he kind of like wanders the countryside, showing up at people's weddings and stuff sometimes. He just does whatever the hell he wants, and he's kind of like a hippie that way, except a hippie with like hundreds of millions of dollars. But he got kind of Me Too too in that one movie. But then he kind of like de-escalated the whole thing somehow. Not sure what he did. All right, more on the Trump shooting thing. M. Night Shyamalan starts writing 17th feature as he thanks trap audiences. That's a weird headline, isn't it? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe you should take a break. Maybe buy a good screenplay and kind of tweak it. Indie Phantom, Man in the Moon was good. Ardent, love Bill Murray in Zombieland. Yes, that is one of the best cameos in history. I especially love the second one where they show you the beginning, where they do the flashback to where he was when the zombies break out. It was very funny. Am I Racist by conservative podcaster Matt Walsh and faith-based God Is Not Dead and God We Trust hit top 10 specialty box office. See, it's headlines like this I think are going to change the film industry, because at some point there'll be a tipping point, and the money people will get completely out of movies, like the big I'm talking the giant money people, like the ESG people. They will have enough money and power that they will get out of the media, mostly, or at least in movies, and movies will be so wrecked that they don't want to do them anymore, or they will get their comeuppance when Trump gets in office, and they have to change their whole deal, or they just abandon ESG altogether because Trump changes the rules slightly, and then they're going to lean into heavily to faith-based movies. At some point, they're going to see the writing on the wall and say, "Oh, we can make a lot of money. Let's make another Jesus flick." Ardent, you're definitely right about the coming of Uber Christianity trend, Tony. Oh yeah, it's a coming. I'm gonna have to go back to church. I already know. I'll have to pick a church, and I'll have to go just to be like, I'm one of you. Leave me alone. But hopefully I'll find a base church, and they'll just let me like show up, throw a few bucks in the plate, and go my merry way. I just don't want to get up early. God. Just don't want to get up early. Is that too much to ask to sleep in on a Sunday? Is that too much? All right, cosmic book news. Deadpool and Wolverine smashes 1.3 billion, passes Star Wars, eyes the Avengers. I think it's just about done, but maybe on DVD or whatever. Ardent, go be a good Church of Englander, LOL. Don the Second, that's funny to hear because my family is really religious, LOL. My family was never religious, not really. One day, I'll tell you a personal story. One day my mother turned to me and my brother because she was sick of like one of us had overslept or something. And she was like, she got frustrated and said, well, if in the next time we go to church, if neither one of you get me up, I won't even drive you to church. And we never went to church again, me and my brother. Ardent, LOL, Church of the Latter, Risen Christ. Services at 1:30 and 5. Now, that's a church I can maybe get behind on. Yeah, go in the afternoon, right after lunch. Sit there, hear the sermon, out by 2. Good to go. The problem with my church, when I was a kid, I'll tell you another story. So, my mother thought it would be a good idea for me to join. I don't want to say what church I was in. Indie Phantom. I was hitting local church with my dad a decade ago. They made a great breakfast after the ceremony. That was my hook. Ooh, that's a good hook. If you made a good breakfast, I might come to your church. But it was the young, whatever we were, churchgoers, Christians, I'll just say, is one of the Christian deals. So I went to one. Now, this is in the late 70s. I think I'm like 13, maybe. And the pastor, for whatever reason, couldn't make it. So they let one of the older guys, who was like, I don't know, maybe he was 18. He led it. And I swear to you, this is true. They sat around smoking. Again, 70s. They're all in this room smoking, which I hated because I didn't smoke. And I was like, I don't want to be in this room full of smoke. And then they sat around and talked about what they did over the weekend. They didn't talk a single thing about God or the church or anything, which was slightly more interesting than talking about the Bible. But I really didn't want to hear about their weekends either. And they were talking about dirty stuff. Like, as a teenager, I was like, whoa, are these guys trying to impress me or something? Because they're talking about stuff I don't think you should be talking about in church, and they're smoking. I mean, if they had gotten out joints, I wouldn't have been surprised. That's how, like, lax it was. And I just thought, this is BS. I didn't come here for this. I didn't come here to hang out with the cool kids in school. I could be ignored in that room by going to school. Alex Ogle. I am reading a book by Isaiah Berlin on philosophy, and the Western societies of today seem to have more than a passing resemblance to those of mid-19th century around the great failed revolutions. Yeah. I mean, the suicide of the liberals, you read that essay and you're like, oh, crap. Oh, crap, the commies are coming. But I think our system's different, and I think we have a good shot of flushing the commies. I think most of the commies are just going to flip the script the moment it's, it's more popular to not be a commie. And that is rapidly approaching. And people are, I mean, that Trump song with the cats is 100% one of the reasons. They're getting into that. These kids on TikTok. These kids on TikTok with their TikTok and their ticking and their talking. I'm an old man. Ardent, getting some stream stutter. Are you dropping frames or should I refresh? No, I'm dropping beats. I don't know. I don't know, dude. Maybe refresh. Let's see. Yeah, it looks like I had a problem with the stream at some point. Oh, yeah, it looks like it's really going down. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, viewers will experience buffering. Open widget. Okay. That widget did nothing. That widget is not helpful at all, YouTube. I don't know. I might have to wrap this. I was just about done anyway. Let me finish the comments. Alex, I propose the Church of the Naked Sydney Sweeney. I need planning permission for some obscenely large cathedrals for the congregation. Sounds good, Alex. John Adams, I was getting a stutter as well. I figured it was just me. Doubt anything can be done about it. Ardent, refreshed. Ardent at John Adams. I get a stutter on my OBS about halfway through my streams, but Newfoundland internet is at 55. Don the Second, you went to a wild church. That was the 70s, bro. Ardent, nah, it was the same here when I was a kid. Oh, really? Okay. So, Not much going on. Stephen Amell on John Cena and James Gunn. F those guys? Oh, wow. He didn't sound very happy about that. Amell opens up about the Green Arrow joke in the first season of Peacemaker. Oh, they made a joke at the Green... It was the only good show on the CW. That's dumb. Indie Phantom. I got booted from the stream. Damn commies. Gonna have to wrap soon. The dog is getting restless, and I really have to go to the bathroom. I don't know why. YouTuber Valkyrie blasts Jason Momoa for Minecraft on-set behavior. Worst celebrity experience. Watch the video. Nah, I don't care. I don't care. Oh, here's The Crow. The Crow now on digital 3 weeks after 21 million box office. Oof. Oofa. Ardit, your widget is bunk, YouTube. Yeah, there's no widget there. All right, I think I'm just about done. Here's more on Trump at the wrap. The Life of Chuck wins Toronto Film Festival's People Choice Award. Okay. And that's about it. All right. So what have we learned from today's wacky stream? What have we learned? Well, we learned the box office is in the toilet, number one. That if Am I Racist was in more movie theaters, it would probably have been the third or maybe even the second biggest movie of the day. What else? We learned about the Trump attempted assassination part 2. We learned my dog is extremely bad, and she's at my feet moaning like an idiot. All right, Joan, I'm wrapping up. What else did we learn? We learned that my friend Corey, loves hockey and is very black-pilled, in my opinion. We learned everybody was on the stream today. I think every person who's ever been on my stream was here today. So this was a solid stream. So give yourselves a big hand. Thank you. I think it's probably, I'm going to check my stats after this, and I think it's probably going to be one of my best streams ever. Yeah. Oh, looks like it may have died on me. Oh, no. Looks like the stream might be dead, doggy. All right, well, I'm going to wrap it here. I'll just say good night, all. Gonna wrap it here. Oh, stream is healthy now, it says. Stream is healthy now. So I'll wait a minute or two, see if you guys get back on, so they could say their final goodbyes. Here, Joan, come up here. Come up here. No, I know you want to leave. Joan wants to go out. So yeah, I'll wait. Oh, there we go. Ardent. So this week we learned that Josh Brolin has done absolutely too many comic book movies. Yes. 5 at our count. James Purfoy hasn't done enough. He played Solomon Kane. And that no matter what, Sydney Sweeney is hot. Later, Tony. Later, Ardent. Wait. Later, Ardent. So, yeah. Everybody was in the stream this week. I think everybody bailed because the stream died on them. Oh, sorry, guys. I don't know what happened to YouTube. Maybe they're jealous of my success. Probably. All right. That's it for me, Tony D. What's coming up this week? Well, Monday, I'm going to... where am I going? I'm going to Sea Isle City, the library and museum. I'll be there at 6 p.m. for my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. On Tuesday, I am scheduled to go to the Galloway Township Senior Center, but I got a message, but it got garbled. And I'm not sure if that might be rescheduled. I have to call on Monday. That's like top of my list. Then on Saturday, I'll be at the Marcus Hook Pirate Festival. I believe that's 10 to 6, but I might have to cut out a little early. Kite is still here. Have a good night. Kite. And then on Saturday, I'm going to the Pine Barrens Makers Fest. That's a big one. Yeah, that's like a Piney Central event, and that's going to be in Hamilton. So 4 events, 3 or 4 events this week. It's going to be a big week. And book 16, I'm working on the edits now. The cover is in the works. What's going on? So the live stream next week will probably be on time. Might be a little late, but mostly on time. And and Am I Racist? Check out my review. But generally, it was a good movie. And if you like Matt Walsh, I think you'll find it funny. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in the next one.